don't know. Is there any tactics we're taking here? Don't think so.
No.
Let's give a check first. Yeah. And now we take on h6 simply. Get our pawn back, and well, knight c6 is a potential move here.
Can we, if we go back one move before taking on h6?
Yeah.
We can't really sacrifice our knights.
Maybe. Queen c5 check.
Yeah, but there is even queen d6 probably in the worst case.
Probably just about. Rook h6 looks very standard here. Maybe it's even best in this position not to go in with the knight straight away, but get rid of the knight on b8. So I'm thinking bishop b5 check, because if you go king e7 now, well, it's checkmate. So you have to go knight c6, and now we can get rid of this knight, which I think improves our chances. Give a check now, take on h6, and black doesn't have knight c6 attacking the queen now. I mean, this position, actually, how bad is this for black? It looks ridiculous. I think
quite bad.
It looks ridiculous, doesn't it? But is it ridiculous? Rook h8, for example? How ridiculous is this?
But now
Queen b4 check, maybe it's very strong. Queen b4.
Queen d6.
Queen d6, now queen
b7.
Queen b7 check looks very scary.
Okay, I mean, bishop
d7 and knight g8 check. Winning the... Oh, you can... Well, I don't know. I mean, yeah, it's got to be awful for black, hasn't it, generally? So, okay. Should we go over to the ladies?
Yeah.
Let's have a look at the ladies.
So, on the top board there, Russia against France. It's funny because on the top two, so on top board we have Alexandra Kosteniuk against Marie Sebag, and on board two, Almira Skripchenko against Katerina Lagno, and Alexandra Kosteniuk and Almira Skripchenko are actually best friends, so they're probably quite happy to avoid playing each other.
It's very hard playing very good friends. I mean, but at least you know the winner will buy you a drink after the game. That's one good thing. So some very nice comments in the chat there, Fiona. So who is that model with Simon? They're saying. So
at least I'm not being called a beast again.
I know, that was very rude. People calling you a beast the other day. So very bad behaviour that was. So. So yeah, I mean, this looks like a standard position, doesn't it? So
they've played quite a lot of moves. I keep forgetting we started quite late already. So today, so we're 1.5 hours into the game. So what do you make of this? Who do you take? Freddie the F pawn.
I like Freddie. Yeah, Freddie. Maria Sebag with the black pieces. Is pushing Freddie up the board here. And I think black's probably very comfortable, at least in this position. Because, I mean, I have this rule in chess that when I'm playing with white, I want to get more space than my opponent. And when I'm playing with black, I'm very happy if I can gain more space than my opponent. So I generally like playing with space, and I think most players do. And here, black has more space than white. White is huddling around the first rank, and black is ready to push forwards. And this looks very promising for Maria Sebag, who recently, is a very strong player. So I'd be very confident if I was,
This is maybe a very important pairing in this game, because France is outrated quite heavily in all the other. I mean, they are outrated here as well, but it's just 40 points, so it's not such a big deal. So if Marie loses, it's going to be very tough for the French ladies. But if she wins, everything's possible, I think. So let's see how the other boards
look at the other games very
are
quickly,
developing here quickly. So on board 2, Almira Skripchenko against Katerina Lagno.
Okay, we just have some news in one of the men's matches between Spain and France. There was a draw between Salgado and Backrow, so fair enough. And this one, Skripchenko, she started playing the Dutch Opening actually.
Okay.
So after I won some nice games in it, so
inspired by you.
Apparently so, which is really worrying actually. So must have. Yes, but okay, well this position, white is slightly better again. Nothing serious going on here. I'm saying slightly better again because there's a bit more space for white in the centre, but maybe it's just nothing.
Black has the f-file. Maybe black can bring a knight to f4 at some point or something.
Probably go in like this.
Yeah.
In like
nothing dramatic happening here so far. So let's. Shall we move on to board 3?
Yes, let's move
After we're done with the ladies, I would quite like to check back with Shah Mamedyayev and Peter Swidler.
Yeah, it's very, very interesting. Yeah. Is this board 3 or 4? I don't know.
This is board 3, Valentina Gornina against Pauline Guichard.
I would say white's slightly better here. This is like a typical kind of, again, maybe like resembles an English opening. White's better. White has this pressure across the long diagonal with a bishop on g2. White has more space, and black has some problems finding a good home for the bishop on c8 and maybe the knight on d7. But it's just slightly more comfortable for white to play. d6 is going to be a weakness. White hasn't got any weaknesses in this position. So, because if you move the knight on d7, let's say, I don't know, knight somewhere, then you give away the b6 square. So this is a very pleasant position for white. And the last board.
So on the last board, Sylvia Kolas against Alexandra Goryachkina.
And this is the young prodigy from Russia playing with the black pieces. And here, okay, well, white has sacrificed a pawn, is that correct? So white's this is a good way to play, taking the game to your higher rated opponent, unless she's just lost a pawn, I don't know. Is this a...
Shall we quickly see what happened?
Let's quickly see. So, well, okay, it's a reti where black has taken on c4, and maybe black has just held on to this pawn, and indeed black has, so it is a sacrifice. d3 now is a standard move in these types of position. The other move you can play is b3 to try to claim compensation, and you do have compensation for white here because you're better developed, you're castled, your bishop on g2 is good, your knight on d3 has some attractive squares it can move into, so certain compensation. You have this d file for the rook, and now we probe on the queen side, and we push in the king on the middle, and white sensibly develops with now some ideas of e5. I mean, you have to be very careful with black. You could lose immediately. Why didn't e5 work here? Why didn't you go e5 here, for example? Because if bishop g2, then black loses a piece. You just take on f6. So I guess after e5, black is forced to come back with a knight. Good compensation for white, actually. I like the way white's playing this. It's just how you beat high-rated players. You take the game to them. Okay, where should we go?
And by the way, I think we're going to go back to Swidler, but just to mention the game we were just looking at, Tari against Georgiadis. Georgiadis is down to just 22 minutes, and that's on move 15. So things have definitely gone. So
you won the bet yesterday, didn't you, on Russia? I thought Russia were going to win 4-0.
I think it was a bit of an optimistic bet.
I just wanted to give you a glass of wine back.
Did you see Swidler's reaction when we told him?
Yeah, it was worth actually taking the bet just for Swidler's reaction. It's like, who is this idiot? Now, should we have a bet on the Tari game? I reckon Tari will win in under 25 moves?
Oh, no, that's too much. I thought you were going to offer me under 20.
No, it has to be under 25
no,
moves.
No, that's not a good bet.
You can I'll tell you, you can take either side.
Maybe if you give me 100-1 odds or something.
Oh, come on, you hustler. Well, you can take under 25 moves, and I'll take over 25 moves. Okay. For
one glass.
One large glass of wine.
Large.
Deal. Okay.
We finally, tonight, we're going to have a well-deserved glass of wine because tomorrow is the rest day here in Reykjavik.
So, and they have a very nice pub quiz today. So, I think I'll pop along to that at some point. So.
And we're hearing a good friend of ours is apparently running Ari. That's the French side of me coming out.
Look, Ari is the A pawn. Ari is the A pawn. Harry is the H pawn. Did it right.
I didn't think I would ever get pronunciation classes from you, Simon.
Well, you know me. I'm a dark horse sometimes. So I can give you pronunciation lessons on slang words.
Okay.
You know, and maybe a bit of Cockney rhyming slang, like my suit and whistle.
I had a go at Simon before our show today, and he said he'd never seen me so angry. I was trying to teach him how to pronounce some name and names.
You weren't happy with my pronunciation, were you?
We were just walking. We were walking to the playing hall, and Simon told me the story about Alexandra Kostaniak, and I think I just shouted at him, Kostaniuk.
Yes.
And then I tried to teach him, so we'll see later if it bore any fruit.
Probably not, no. I wouldn't have thought so.
So shall we go to Peter Swidler and then maybe, or do you want to go to this game?
Yeah, let's have a look, because he's a very good friend of ours, and we do just want to have a quick look. So
this is the match between Moldova and Montenegro, and it's funny because I was talking to the top board of Moldova before the match, Viktor Bologan, very famous player and author, And he was telling me that 4 years ago, on the same day, November the 17th, they also played against Montenegro. So that's quite funny.
Quite a funny little thing. So yeah. And well, here we go. White has a nice opening, and Vladimir is our friend. And here he's being taken. He's in there. Harry scored
He spent too much time with you, Simon.
I think he has. I think he spent too much time, with me watching commentary. Because here comes Harry. Oh, I love it, Vlad. You are a superstar.
Maybe he was thinking this was his only chance to get on our show.
Yeah, definitely. and he's now inspired. But Black's next move is absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
You never want to do that.
Absolutely ridiculous move from Black here. Because the whole point of pushing Harry is to try to, create some kind of open lines. So Black goes, okay, you can open up the H file for me, not a problem. So he goes G6. And now White's H pawn has a really good target. And look, you're going to open up the H file. Yeah. And this is just very nice for White. White at some point will take on G6 with great attacking chances. So knight comes to C4. You can even, I saw this idea being played in one game before. You can even try here, knight C4, queen D2, queen H6, take on G6, checkmate, thank you very much. So, yeah, that's
it's our little life board on the left corner going crazy there.
It's going to have a little panic attack there. So it's flashing. Okay, and
yeah, so we like White.
Yeah,
a lot.
Okay, we like well done, Vlad. You're a star with your H pawn. You're pushing that all the way up the board, son. Okay, should we go back to? You want to go back to the top one?
I quickly want to go back to Swidler against Mamedjarov, and then we're going to go to Šajić. Actually, I've learned that it's Šajić against Shirov.
Did you pronounce your name wrong?
One letter in the name.
That's enough. Makes all the difference.
So the top board clash between Azerbaijan and Russia.
Okay, so let me just find this.
Up.
There we go.
Yeah.
So okay.
So that's the first board. Peter Swidler.
Got it. Okay, and this was looking. The last position we had was after E6, and we thought that Swidler had a very dangerous attack here.
And he did play a move.
He did. He played Queen E5, which looked, to be honest, like a pretty much forced possibility, because otherwise White was just crashing through.
Yep.
And White indeed has taken on F7 anyway. Black grabs the pawn, and now you obviously don't exchange queens when you're trying to attack. I mean, an idea I'd certainly consider here would be Queen D1, but maybe Black, with the idea of swinging my queen to H5 check, but maybe again rook takes D4 just works. Queen to H5 check, and now something like this. And I think Black, you don't have enough pieces attacking to win this at least. So here, Peter realizes that in order to stop rook takes D4, he has to play bishop to E4 here. And he has a pawn for this idea. Knight C6 coming. The Black king very exposed on the light squares. Rook E8 played, and now simply knight to F3. I think Black's getting smashed. That's my personal opinion. I really think Black's getting smashed. How's our bet getting on? So over 25 moves I have. We'll come back to the bet later on. I think that's a safe glass of wine for me. Okay, so knight to F3. It looks to me that Black is really just getting smashed here. I'm afraid to say, for Mamedjarov, who's a good friend of yours, yes. So, because the king is just too weak. This king is just. I mean, it just looks like a. Looks like it's exposing itself.
Okay, what if I try to defend? If I play Queen G7,
Bishop D5 checks you have to watch out for as well. Maybe Queen E6, or then.
Yeah, but then you can just take on G5.
Yeah, maybe, but is that so simple? Because maybe you have to let me take on G5.
Yeah, but bishop takes.
Bishop takes. And now if I move my bishop,
our good friend Runar here in the audience doesn't like this for Black either.
Bishop D6, though. This is why I think Mamedjarov put his rook on E8.
But now he's already okay, now there's a pin.
What about Bishop E7? No, that's rubbish, but I like it. Well, I can move my bishop on G5 somewhere. Bishop D8. Well, I don't know why I put it there. It's a stupid square to put it, but
why to make it complicated if it's clearly winning?
I don't know about clearly winning, Runa. I know you're attacking superstar, but
superstar against superstar.
Yeah. I mean, we have our. Like
someone is telling us it looks like Swidler is going for a repetition. Can we see if we're getting moves here?
Okay, well, yeah, first, there's a lot of action we've just been told in evaluation.
Yeah, but if Swidler is going for a repetition...
Okay, do you want to go that straight away?
Let's we are on Swidler game. Let's just see if we got any games.
Yeah, we are.
Any moves?
Yeah, good point. We are actually there. So
this is the current position.
So I'm imagining the repetition would be Queen E6. This is the current position, Knight F3. But I imagine Queen E6, Knight D4 is the way you try to go for a draw. Let's just see, Knight F3. Let's see how many moves have come. It's a draw.
It was a draw.
Maybe this is all
so much for being completely winning.
I just said he's getting smashed only 2 seconds ago, didn't it? I mean, and Runa, it's not just me, it's Runa as well. Runa said Black's getting smashed. Did you think Black's getting smashed?
No, I trust in Mehmet Yarov. He's a good friend of mine. I always knew he was fine there.
I find out. We should have had another bet then. I could be owing you bottles of wine by the end of today. Well, I mean, this must be one of those, because Fiddler was saying yesterday, his preparation yesterday with Black was that he was happy to draw, but he was going to play a very theoretical line, and if Ivanchuk knew all the lines, it'd probably be a draw. I think today he's taken a similar approach. He thought, well, I'm going to try a sharp opening. If my opponent, Mamedyarov, is well prepared, it will probably be a draw. If he's not well prepared, I'll win. And I think Mamedyarov has shown that he's been well prepared. That's the psychology I'm thinking. But I mean, let's just have a look. After Queen E6, can we really not? Can we really not try to play on here? I mean, maybe not, because there's too much going on the E file. And this is the problem.
Maybe if you take on
Bishop takes G5, what is wrong with that?
Well, that's the move we're just looking at. Bishop takes G5.
But maybe after Bishop takes, can I simply play something like Bishop takes B4?
You can try Bishop takes B4, but now I always want to move my Bishop on G5 because I don't know.
But then I will come back to E7.
Okay, maybe.
Simply, maybe.
Yeah.
Well, it's. I'm still feel a bit suspicious here.
I always feel like, yeah, we like it, but I always feel Swidler is maybe a tad stronger than us.
Only a tad. Only a tad. Yeah, Swidler he knows what he's doing. Okay, maybe that's just the reason.
The bishop is problem.
Yeah, this is maybe why. So, but was a bit too eager there to. Okay, well there we go. Draw.
Okay, so let's go to a very interesting game apparently. Vallejo Pons against Maxime Vachier-Lagrave. So that's France against Spain.
And this is billed to be a very interesting game because they're both very exciting players.
So France has just drawn their last 2 matches, so it's very important for them. They win today. Just 3 down.
Yes. Yeah. And it's very important. I mean, they're favourites for this match, but what's happening here? Okay, well, we'll just go back a little bit. Okay.
This was a Najdorf.
It was a Najdorf variation. If we go to... we'll show it from the start because it's quite an interesting variation. After A6, which is the Najdorf, and that's Maxime's favourite opening. He nearly always plays this. Bishop E3 is the so-called English attack. Very popular line. I think Danny Gormali, a good friend of ours, has done a very good DVD for Chessbase on this. Buy that DVD if you want to learn about this opening. Knight G4 is basically offering a draw. Bishop C1, Knight F6, Bishop E3, Knight G4. And a draw with Black in a team competition, taking out their top player, is a good team result. So White decides to play on with Bishop G5, and now Maxime goes H6 and G5. And Maxime beat Mickey Adams in this same variation with the black pieces in the 4NCL English Chess League. And now, one of my favourite moves, of course, H4, trying to create some chaos on the king side. Things come off on C6. White keeps developing with speed. The problem Black has here, positionally, Black is doing pretty well. Black has a very good pawn structure in the centre, very nice pawn structure. He'd probably better go D5, but his king is always a little bit airy because if you castle H-file, where'd you put the king? So Queen A5, Queen F3 played, threatening some ideas. Knight E5, and now again another positional problem that Black has here. That White has. He's now lost the bishop pair as well. So this is going to be a battle of, I think, tactics versus positional ideas, because if white can crash through and quickly and checkmate black, he wins the game, obviously. But if black can survive, then I think he will be positionally doing very well. And
just to remind you, today we have a new feature that's up here. You can now see the current scores in the match, which is very nice. And we mentioned we had a draw between back row and Salgado, so
that's good. Very nice, yeah. And we should also mention the hashtag above the chessboard, which you can see now. Hashtag ETCC 2015, and this is for Twitter. If you want to go on Twitter and you want to talk about the games or anything you want to suggest to us, please tweet on that hashtag. We can bring up the tweets so we can see what you're talking about, and yeah, you'll be in the bright lights of Reykjavik then by Twitter. And also on chess.com, the best chess platform out there, in my opinion, is also, if you go to chess.com/TV, you will be able to
join us in the chat, and we're keeping an eye on that.
Certainly are. So that's how you can get in contact with us. Or you can just fly over here and join us in the audience. Okay, well, so white now wins a pawn on f7. So he goes a pawn up, takes on g5. He goes another pawn up, rook b8. Very exciting stuff, you're right. Bishop b3, rook f8, keep attacking that queen, queen to e3, queen takes g5. So, okay, so white has won a pawn, so this means any endings are going to be now probably okay for white, because at least he's got a pawn for his positional problems. Just a very dynamic double-edged position here, I think it's fair to say.
I think it probably suits Maxim's style.
And I think it also suits
not Jobava, Vallejo.
We're
going to go to Jobava soon,
well, so Yep. But both of them like these quite sharp positions, don't they? So yeah. Should we go to Jobava first, and then to Shirov, something like that?
Jobava. Good to me. So Jobava. Yeah. So Georgia are playing Serbia today, and the top match there is Jobava against Šarić.
Right, and we'll go to that very quickly. And Jobava's been playing great chess, because his rating has dropped a little bit.
Not just a little bit.
I think a lot of
bit, yeah. I think on that level, if you drop, I think he's dropped around 50 points. So because he was comfortably over 2,700 at some point. So
he's clearly a 2,700 plus player, in my opinion. He likes experimenting.
He mentioned in his interview that his slump in form had to do with his private life, but he didn't want to go into the details. So I think neither should we. But we hope to see him back above 2,700.
He's been playing great chess here, and check out his game from yesterday if you want to see an amazing game. And he always comes up with sharp, interesting ideas in the opening. And here, he's gone for a modern Benoni, c5. And this totally suits his style. He's very tactical, very aggressive. Yep. And now, I mean, the move, when I've played this as black, the only move I don't really like playing against is knight f3. But d5 is the most principal move. And to be honest, my personal opinion of the modern Benoni is that it's a very good system when white has played g3. I'll just go back, sorry, we'll get to the current position. So this is just my personal preference, that when white puts his bishop on g2, the modern Benoni, in my opinion, is a very good choice. And I think black is totally fine. It seems to me that bishop on g2 is rather stupid, because it's just hitting its own pawn, and it's better on other squares. And also, later on, there's some attacking chances here, because g3 is a slight weakness. So that's my personal opinion, so let's see. Now this is just a weird move. Weird. And this is going to be a great game, because Ivan, with the white pieces, is a very aggressive player as well. Very exciting player. So Queen d3 now played. That's bizarre. I mean, I've never seen that move before. That's a Jobava move. That's the kind of move that Jobava would come out with. So I think white's sort of joining in the fun today. He's thinking, I can do a Jobava as well.
We've had plenty more moves, so let's see what happened.
Very interesting question in the chat from MacLeod. Connor MacLeod, from the MacLeod clan. Maybe, do you know that film? That's Highlander.
No, sorry, I was just reading, catching up.
And, well, we'll repeat the
question.
Simon,
would you rather play like Jobava and never be champion, or play like Kramnik and win everything? Let's say 50% of the games will be Berlin's.
Well, it depends how I was doing money-wise in my life. If I was financially secure, I would rather play like Jabava, because for me chess is fun. It should be an art form and you should enjoy it. I don't want to just play. I had this conversation with Niditch the other day. He was saying to me, Simon, you could be a much better player if you just stop playing nonsense. And he just says, you know, why do you play nonsense all the time? And I was like, well, I enjoy playing nonsense. It gives me pleasure playing nonsense. I'm a nonsense kind of character. And he's going, yes, you are complete nonsense, basically. So we're having this discussion, but I mean, I think it depends what you want in life. I mean, I probably should play more sensible ideas, but I just really enjoy trying out crazy stuff. So it really depends what you want in life.
I think anyway, you know, you really I think on your level, you know, you are a professional. You make a living from chess as it is, and it maybe will not make a big difference if you are 2500 or 2550 or 2450.
Exactly. Yeah.
So if you were Kramnik, that would be something else. But
sure. Yeah.
Like if you're having fun, that's probably the main thing.
That's what life's
Giving me
about.
some heart attacks when I'm your captain, but I have to deal with that.
Yeah,
I guess.
I mean, you've seen some of my crazy ideas, and yes, I do scare and many a captain. But yeah, I mean, life's surely about having fun, isn't it? You know? I mean, what's the point otherwise? So you know, that's my simple answer. Okay, so let's go on with the game, and this is a very weird move, Queen. I mean, I guess the idea is Bishop E7. I mean, why put your queen on such an exposed square? If Bishop G7, is the idea to go Queen E3 check, just to try to discombobulate black? Do you like that word? I like that word, discombobulate.
I've never heard that word. I
do you
like
think I made that word up? Do you think I made it up, or do you think it's real? That is a question for you.
That's probably weird. Oh, you would be very creative.
You're saying I'm not creative?
Don't know.
Well, actually, you are right. Yeah, it's real. Discombobulate. I think it's real. It's got a lovely sound to it, though, hasn't it? Discombobulate. Love it. Love it. Okay, Queen E3 check. And well, here Black now tries to take advantage of the weird placement of the queen. So Knight A6, trying to come into B4 makes a lot of sense. White plays A3. I'm just really suspicious about the way White's playing this.
Okay, so now we will see the idea you were talking about. Bishop G7 and Queen E3.
This has to be the idea, just to discombobulate the king. Let's see how many times I can say that today. Now,
I'm waiting for you to whip out your new word from yesterday.
Glad you said new word.
Do you remember it? Terrifying.
Terrifying. I did make that one up.
Yeah, but it was very good.
Terrifying. It's a new thing. You get so terrified you fly off. Yes. So King F8 played, and here, okay, well, the queen's misplaced, but the king's misplaced. Bishop G2. In the meantime, Black getting very quick development. Bishop F5, Knight to F3.
Yeah, I'm not so sure how good it was forcing the king to go away. I mean,
yeah.
Is it really that great for White?
I don't think it's that great. I mean, the queen is always going to be a target here. Knight G4s, and Black can go King H7, H6, King.
Yep. And castle.
Castle
Do you
by
call
hand.
it? Yeah.
Castle by hand. I think you called it. So.
I think in other languages you call it something like castle artificially.
Sorry, say that again.
Artificially.
Do you want me to correct you? Artificially, I think is the word you're looking for. Please get your pronunciations right in the future. I do give lessons for a very decent fee on English, so we can maybe discuss a fee later if you want some English lessons.
Let's check on our game to first see. Hopefully I win something there, and then we can discuss the fee. Okay.
Okay, so very interesting.
And just for you guys behind us there with the camera, that's Yuri Garet from Italy, member of the FIDE anti-cheating commission, and you missed it, but he
taking a picture of my back. I know I've got a lovely back, but come on, you know. I hope that's not going anywhere.
And there was he was doing a speech before the round today. So starting from today, players will be checked when they go to the toilet sometimes, when they go for a smoke. Just random checks with metal detectors to make sure they're not carrying anything they're not allowed to with them.
Yeah, they had this in the Isle of Man Congress, which you were the press officer for, and in the Isle of Man Congress, they were doing these random checks, weren't they, with a metal detector on players. see if they had their phone on them and stuff like this.
And also another measure that's going to come into what do you call it? Another measure that's going to be implemented in 2 days is the players are not allowed to bring their own watches.
Well, let's bring our own watches.
Yeah, which was already in force at the World Cup in Baku, and which is and Simon's laptop has just died.
He just died on me. He's had enough of our rubbish today. He's like, I'm going to sleep. I know the feeling, laptop, but yeah, it literally just died. Poor laptop. Okay, it's come back to life now. So obviously you've got second wind.
Yeah, so let's go back.
So let's have a look at the end of this game, because this is interesting. Queen F4.
Getting English lessons from everyone today. Simon, our producer. So yeah,
exactly.
The word I was looking for were the measures will come into effect.
Into effect, yes, indeed. Yes. Okay.
So back to the game.
Yeah, I mean, black. I mean, this Queen E3 just strikes me as a very peculiar way to play. Rook E1. And now, I mean, Jabava is in his element when he has active piece play. And it seems to me that he has active piece play here. So he's going to be a happy boy. Knight to E4, very normal move.
Just interrupting you a second. We had a result. We looked at this game earlier. You said it was very boring, to quote you there. So Yakovenko against Safarli on the last board. The top clash today, Russia against Azerbaijan, that was a draw.
Yeah, someone give me pronunciation lessons now. Thank you very much for that.
They've said yesterday that you can't pronounce pronunciation.
Do you know what? I don't care. So, simply. Okay, right. Yes, I will try, actually. You know what, my mother actually went to have elocution lessons. Elocution lessons to actually speak in a very, very nice way. So maybe I should try this. Okay. Well, let's go on big games. G4. Wow.
Can I just pinpoint, we haven't had a single draw in the women's yet, unlike the men. Well, and I want to say, I'm not just saying this because I'm a woman myself, but I think in general, women chess is a lot more fighting than men's chess.
Very controversial. And when we're looking at this game here, very controversial. Look at this game. This is a fighting game. Do you think it's more interesting with more mistakes are made? Now that is controversial. On the topic of being controversial, do you think maybe it's true?
Well, it depends. Like, of course, there are no 2,800 women players. But I don't think that if 2,400 women players play and 2,400 men players play, I don't think that women make more mistakes.
No, definitely not. But in general, just because of the ratings.
I mean, of course, like when you have a women's Grand Prix and a men's Grand Prix, the average rating difference is so big that they're bound to be more mistakes.
So what I mean is just because for whatever reasons, and it's sad that there are more men in the top. There's only one female on the top 100 players, which is very sad. And it'd be lovely to encourage more females to play, of course. And I think FIDE, the organising committee, needs to really seriously think hard about how to encourage female chess players. But it's kind of a fact. So maybe chess is more interesting with more mistakes. Simply, I mean, I was saying this before.
That's someone says on the chat. I lost it. So it was something along the weaker the player, the more the lower the rating, the bigger the fight.
Yeah, I think lower rating and more mistakes makes more interesting games sometimes.
That's why yesterday we were looking at this game from the women's section from a player that was actually rated below 2,000.
Because that was a great game, though, brilliant game, and. I mean, perfect chess is probably a draw. I don't want to see like perfect, boring draws in every game because why do I want to see that? I want to see winning. You want to see games where one person wins. Okay, anyway. So
finally, get to the current position.
Definitely. So here,
G4.
Black gives up his dark square bishop, and what is White's?
Maybe let's wait. Okay, they're back with us.
Okay, so we have a couple more moves here. We're just going to see what the idea of this pawn sacrifice. Well, he's gone to c4, so the idea is to get your bishop on this extremely strong diagonal on b2. Now, on the other hand, White's king is slightly exposed, so Black is going for that with bishop h3, knight d2 being played here, and very interesting position. Very unique play from actually both sides, but actually White in this game is playing in a very interesting manner. I mean, the idea
It's an interesting strategy to play against Jabava and play in his kind of style here.
Yeah, certainly very interesting. I mean, if I was black, I'd certainly want to maybe take on G2 and go knight H5 or knight H5 first, something like this.
Yep.
To try and basically come into the H3 square at some point. So.
Yeah. We have Steili in the chat asking us if we can do a quick summary of today's action, and I think that's a good idea. I think we're going to do a quick summary, and then we're going to go on a quick break.
Yeah.
So what's happened so far, as I just mentioned, all the action is still going on in the women's section. We haven't had any result there, but in the men's section, the open section, I should say, on the top board, we already had 2 draws on the top. In the top match between Russia and title defenders Azerbaijan. We had a draw between Swidler and Mamedyarov, and a draw between Safarli and Yakovenko. So you can see what's happened there. The only other game that has finished is Salgado against Bakro, and it actually seems like Ivanchuk is completely winning if I look at this. So do you want to...
winning? Should we just have a quick look at that for the break, shall we?
Let's have a quick look at Ivanchuk, and then we go on a break.
Might be a bug.
Might be a bug. We'll have a look.
Let's have a look anyway, because
Ivanchuk, who lost a very heartbreaking game.
We felt for him, didn't you, yesterday?
Yeah.
You wanted to go and give him a cuddle, didn't you?
Yeah.
After the game. So
it's a bug.
Oh, it's a bug, is it? Okay.
Okay.
There's bugs in those systems today, aren't there? So yeah, definitely. Well,
okay, so then we are gonna go. Or do you want to update our bet before we go?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Okay, we will update Arian Tari against Georgiadis. Simon and I have a little bet on this. So Simon bet this game was going to go on for more than 25 moves, and I bet it would be over.
In under 25 moves? What happens if it's 25 moves? I guess you win. I'll give you the win.
Okay.
If it's 25 moves, I'll give you that.
Are
you ready?
I'll give you a sip of my glass.
Very kind of you. Yeah. Okay, you ready? Are you ready for the action? Yeah. I'm ready to bring it up.
I hope it's not 25 already.
You ready to shed those tears? Yeah, 25! Whoa! Glass of wine for me tonight.
We'll have to find another bet today. Maybe go for a bottle bet.
we can find another bet. You can propose the
But look at the clock times. Arian Tari is a whole hour up on the clock.
And
2 pawns.
Is it 2 pawns? Wow, 2 pawns as well. And well, actually, maybe Black's going to resign here, and you still win the bet.
Yeah.
Whoa! I mean, if I was Black here, I'd actually seriously consider resigning. I really would. Is this the same game? Yes, it is the same game. So just want to.
Yeah, I think. Actually,
you could
our producers do have a point here. I think in an open tournament you might resign, but this is a team competition. You play for your country.
Sure.
So
you probably play on. Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, I mean, if you resign when you're not completely lost, you've always got some.
Apparently, Mamedyarov resigned quite prematurely yesterday against Selyanov.
Day before yesterday, maybe, but yeah, I mean, it's
day before.
That was, but I think that was looking very tough for him anyway. You know, he can. But the thing is, these top players can see a lot more than most of us. They realise they're losing. Yeah. But of course, White is winning. The only way you're going to win your glass of wine is if we have a resonation.
Or if he loses on time.
Maybe what you could do, or if you lose time, good point. Or what you could do if you're very quick, get your phone out the bag, slip your phone in his pocket, and give it a ring, and then you'd be like. You know, he'd be disqualified, and then you win a glass of wine. Do you think that's worth it?
Do you think? Yeah, I was wondering. I probably don't think it's worth it. Maybe if it was a bottle.
Oh, that's very destroy someone's career and life for a bottle of wine. What kind of moral person are you, Fiona? It is a bottle of wine, though.
Okay, guys. So we've given you an update on what was going on. We're gonna go on a short break, and we're hoping we will have the cameras back up and running soon, so you can get a break from us.
Yeah, I think everyone needs a break from us occasionally.
Yeah.
So see you soon.
Welcome to chess.com. Chess.com is social. Now you can play chess with your friends whenever you want, whether that's middle of the day or middle of the night. You can get instantly matched up with one of over 5 million other members from around the world. You play live games in real time, turn-based games at your convenience, or tournaments with anyone at any time. Chess.com is mobile. You can play online from your computer, or you can play on the go from your tablet or your smartphone. No matter where you go, whether you're at work, grabbing a bite to eat, or just enjoying some time at the park, your games are there with you, and keeping multiple chess games going has never been easier. Chess.com is for learning. Don't just play chess, get better. The best chess training resources have never been more accessible. Learn essential chess strategy quickly and easily with the extremely popular Tactics Trainer tool. Improve your game in ways you didn't know were possible with training videos by chess masters. And regardless of where you're at now, take your game to the next level with multiple simple-to-use training tools. Chess.com is for everyone. Over 250 million chess games have been played on Chess.com. And it doesn't matter if you're a beginner or a grandmaster. Chess.com is the place to play and learn chess. So, create your free account now and see what Chess.com is for you.
Long before man reached the remote island of Iceland, a land of ancient ice caves, sprawling glaciers and pristine water, a massive volcanic eruption occurred, creating the Ulvus Spring, a majestic underground spring deep below the Earth's surface. For 5,000 years, water has filtered slowly through layers of lava rock, creating exceptionally pure and naturally alkaline water with the perfect mineral balance. Clean, crisp, and untouched. Discover Iceland's greatest natural resource. Icelandic Glacier.
of the European Team Championships, and we're joined by some very special guests. Hello, wave to the camera. We have our superstar commentator in the making here, and we can see there the name. So enjoying yourself very good. Looks like you're a born commentator. Yeah, yeah. So and. Maybe you'd like to tell us about an event going on tomorrow, if that's cool. So there's a backgammon tournament, is that right?
That is right. We're going to have this side event just here in Laugardal's hut.
Yep.
It starts at 2 o'clock. We have this tournament with single elimination, and then there is a second chance.
Okay, brilliant. So backgammon tournament tomorrow, 2 o'clock.
2 o'clock, and it will be going on. I don't know. We will have also all the tournaments in the day also, but the big one starts at 2 o'clock.
Brilliant.
And if you show up at 1:30 tomorrow, you're very welcome.
Brilliant. Are you both playing?
We are both playing.
You're both playing. You play backgammon tomorrow. Backgammon?
I don't think she is.
Yes.
My older daughter has showed some promise in that area, and also chess actually, but this one, not so much yet.
Not so much at the moment, but a future Grandmaster, Icelandic Grandmaster maybe?
I am definite.
Yes,
she will be in.
Yeah, definitely. And I think, do you want to have a mouse?
Yeah.
That's the one. What do you think of Carlsen's position? So
yeah, she has been rambling on about that.
Okay, of course, yeah. Is it Carlsen fan or? Yeah.
No, she doesn't really like him. She is just for Iceland, and she likes Switzerland. So.
Switzerland,
yeah,
okay.
She is very fond of Toblerone.
Okay, good. Yeah. Well, brilliant. So, and I hope your commentary career started now. Yeah. So, superstar already, but superstar for the future. So,
you know, she's an international superstar now.
Yeah, that's it. Brilliant. Well, that's great. Do you want the mouse again? Meow. Meow. There you go. Yep. Good move. Pawn to e4. Brilliant.
Yeah, of course.
Okay, great. Well, we better get back to the chess now. But thank you very much for joining us there, and and I'll catch you hopefully later.
Yeah, most definitely. Most definitely.
That'd be good. Yeah, I'm sure we'll grab a drink or something. We get
most definitely. Most definitely.
Brilliant. Okay.
And we're back, and I nearly lost my job there.
I know. I think you're in danger now. So, a future commentating world champion standard commentator there. And it was very nice to be joined there. And there's this backgammon tournament tomorrow, if anyone's watching, at this venue here, 2 o'clock. So, yeah, I like backgammon. Maybe I'll play.
So we have some good news for you. We're going to go back to Magnus Carlsen, and the cameras are now working, so you will actually be able to see the players and not just ourselves. I was going to say our ugly selves. It was a bit harsh.
A bit harsh.
So Magnus, he's away from the board, and things have developed. Things have simplified a lot.
Definitely. So we could get a lot of exchanges. I think is that Carlsen's father in the background? It looks a bit like Henrik.
No.
Oh, maybe not. Okay, same hairstyle, but that's maybe it. So, okay. Well, we see Hammer looking at this position as well, and it's black to move. So Politia has just taken on f3, and obviously White's going to recapture on f3. And I'm wondering here what this endgame is like. If black captures on c5, I mean there's other options, but the knight is very strong on c5. So I mean you could go king e7 first. That looks like a decent option. But then after this, maybe I move my knight somewhere, and it's very hard to stop my rook coming in. But what's this? What's this?
The rook e6. The rook king e6. If you play this move.
We have Runa in here again, so, well, you can't. There's a little tactic here, Runa. If you go here, knight a4, you go king d6, then I've got to show this, though. Got to show this for the crowd, Runa. This this crafty little tactic.
But then your knight is trapped.
Yeah, but this is a lost king and pawn ending because I have the outside pass pawn. I can create an outside pass pawn and my king comes in very quick, so, yeah. So this, well, this is just winning for white.
Go back one move.
Okay.
Play f6 first.
Okay, f6. Well, this is.
I think we can still go to
king,
d4.
King d4, yeah. Because I always have the outside pass pawn is always going to be winning.
I agree.
So okay, so maybe knight a4 is an idea from if Politia does go king e7. But what's the end game like? Let's just check this out. If we go here, and then try to activate our rook. The problem is, rook and pawn endings, whoever has the more active rook is doing well. And we need to have Runa needs to join us in the commentary at some stage, Runa. At some stage, we'll get you up here, the famous Runa. Yeah, so, okay, so just to clarify, that wasn't your daughter. Clarify.
Everything is just starting flying around.
Just to clarify, that wasn't your daughter, was it, Fiona?
I'd be very surprised if I had a blonde and blue-eyed daughter, but you never know.
You never know. Yeah. Weirder things have happened. So yeah, so just maybe it's a daughter you don't know about, which would be very hard. So yeah,
would have had to pass out for quite a long time there. Okay, shall we go back to maybe the ladies?
Yeah, let's do that. I think this rook ending, just to confirm here, certainly better for white because white has this active rook. But maybe with correct play, black should hold the draw somehow. But you're talking about Magnus Carlsen, so that is not a nice prospect to face. Let's go back to the ladies. Yeah, which ladies do you want to go to? The French match. Shall we go to the board one?
Yep.
Okay, so let's just bring this up.
So that is Alexandra Kosteniuk against Marisa Bag, France. It's probably lower. No, there we go.
So let's look at the top board first. Looks like Marisa Bag is rather cold in Iceland there, with that big coat on. Okay, so this is the current position, and Kosteniuk against Sibag. Was that better?
That was excellent, Simon.
Ah, brilliant. I've pronounced it good this time. Kosteniuk. Can I really pronounce the yuk? Yeah, give me a little, okay. Okay, so after knight b5, what is happening here? Well, earlier on I really liked black. Yeah. But now I really like
not so much any longer,
No.
It looked a lot more promising with the queens on and more pieces on, but now that we've entered an endgame, I'm not sure how much I like black's pawn structure, and white has the bishop pair as well.
Yeah, I totally agree. I mean, the bishop pair, very handy. Maybe even this bishop can poke out to b3 at some stage. Very good square, put itself on d5. Activating the bishop. And white's pawn, especially the b pawn, is the only passed pawn on the board. And that should give white some chance to ram it up the board. So that pawn is really ready to go. You know, you could even, at some point, that would be very dangerous. So white has a stable and secure edge here, I believe, certainly. And she's played my idea I just mentioned, which is bishop to d1. But black has played something like knight c6, and now bishop to b1, which looked like a very good rerouting of the pieces. I mean, little tips for you guys at home, if you're thinking, if you're stuck for a plan in your games and there's no urgency in your position, then one thing you could always do, is just look at your worst placed pieces and try to put them, imagine them on better squares, see how you get them there, and put the maneuver into operation.
Who was talking about, was it Rausen, or about talking to your pieces?
I think it was a schizophrenic guy we met down the pub last night. So he was talking to his pieces.
Just like talk to your pieces and find out which piece is happy, which piece is unhappy, and the one which aren't happy,
totally
make them happier.
Make them happier, yeah, take them down the bar. I think actually, Carsten Müller from Germany, really nice guy, does great endgame series for chess base. Carsten Müller did some DVD where he said the whole DVD was about talking to your pieces. So it's Carsten Müller talking to his pieces. So that's, it was a good way to improve. And
yeah, I was actually correct. I think it's from Rausen's 7 Deadly Chess Sins, which might be the only chess book
I didn't know you had any chess books. Wow.
I actually have a few, but it might be the only ones I've actually finished. You know?
Do you use the other ones as doorstops? Yeah. So, indeed, yeah. And okay, yeah. There was. Well, let's go to the next game. In this match.
Yeah, and just to finish on my little story about talking to your pieces, reminded that the captain of the Italy team here, which is Arthur Kogan from Israel, he has this famous training method called Olala chess. And it's all about happy chess, you know, creative chess, keeping your pieces happy.
I've never heard of this at all. So
it's very famous.
You've got more knowledge than I thought, you know. So you know, you've read more books than I thought in chess.
No, this isn't about books. It's just his training method. He hasn't written a book. He has a Facebook group which you can join, and yeah.
What is? I mean, Rowson's books are meant to be very good, aren't they? And so you recommend that book to anyone?
Oh, I loved Seven Deadly Chess Sins.
Really good, yeah. So I mean, I know they're going to be some of the best chess books around, and they're quite light-hearted yet serious. So if you want to, you couldn't go wrong by buying a Rowson chess book. Chess for Zebras.
Yeah, that's also
is a good
another
one. And then he's also done one on the Grunfeld. I know, very good book if you want to learn the Grunfeld, his main opening. So yeah, definitely. I mean, one thing
Promiton in the chat is telling us the problem is not when you talk to your pieces. The problem is when they talk back to you.
Yeah, that would be a bit worrying, wouldn't it? And we should also mention you shouldn't actually talk to your pieces when you're playing a game of chess, because that would just be weird. Internally, internally. You shouldn't go, hello, little pawn, how are you feeling today? You know, that might freak your opponent out. Oh, hello, king, hi. And then if it
where do you want to go today?
That's it. Should we go? Where should we go for our little journey? Do you want to go to the H file or the G file? That would just be weird. Okay, well, Almira, to me, in this position, looks like she has a good position, I would say. I'd be happy with white here. I mean,
you mentioned earlier more space.
Certainly, and the C-pawn, old Cedric, the C-pawn, is looking very uncomfortable there, I think. I mean, here I could even zoom in. Can we hear your zoom move?
C5.
Yeah? I mean, let me do that again. You ready? 3, 2, 1.
Swoosh.
Come on, can we try that again? That was quite no, come on, now we've got the camera on. You ready? 3, 2, 1.
Swoosh.
Brilliant. I love it. Zwoosh. Yeah, great.
It's a new one.
Okay,
just came up with it.
Okay, that's good. I like that one. I would be more of a meow kind of guy, but you're a zhoosh kind of gal. Okay. Anyway.
So I like white too here. The pawn on c7, is that called a backward pawn, or am I?
I think it's very backwards. Yeah, I'd say that's right. Backwards, weak pawn, and here black has to go on defensive. You can't really take on e4 in this type of position because your 7th rank will crumble. So you have to go either knight e8, which looks like really disgusting because that's one of your only active pieces, or probably a bit better, is moving the rook to c8. But here, I guess now...
So which piece do you want to talk to? Which piece is not happy?
I would like to talk to my knight here on f1, I think, because first of all, I've got to realise there's a pawn being attacked here. So if I tell my knight, come on knight, defend that pawn, I expect g3 is a good square for that knight. And black is just a tie down here. And maybe then white can talk to one of the other pieces, the knight on f3, because that doesn't seem to be doing much to me. Potentially come
I think I agree.
f5.
We need to find some good squares for both these knights. Of course, I would love getting one of my knights to b5, but that might take a while.
Yes. I mean, white's certainly better. White has just a nice advantage with no risk. So Almira, who is underrated, is really playing very well in this game. So it looks like so far top two boards about equal, because on board 1 Russia is doing well, but on board 2 France is doing well.
Shall we quickly update the last two boards?
Definitely.
So that's Gunina against Gishar.
And here earlier it looked like Gunina was doing very well, and
she has won a pawn.
She's won a pawn, so she's still doing very well. And okay, the A pawn's are weak, but the C pawn's are weak, so don't need to spend too much more time on this game, except to say that basically white's in the driver's seat here. So okay, and now to the last board. This was a very interesting game. This could be critical
to the
whole match.
Board, Goryashkina against Kolas. We saw Kolas had sacrificed a pawn earlier for the initiative. She's now gotten her pawn back, but I very much like her position now.
Yeah, this is a key encounter actually, because it looks like it's very evenly matched, this one, because
equal material, but something we have talked about this at some earlier stage, pawn islands. So white has 2 pawn islands. So here, actually I should, you never use the green color, I like using the green color. And then black has 4 pawn islands. What do you think about my artistic skills?
I think that's great. Yeah, it's kind of spinning me out a little bit, but I like it. Yeah. I was looking at my computer and I looked back and whoa, techno-coloured chessboards, brilliant. I love it. Yeah, nice explanation.
So, yeah, I think white is doing quite well here. Also the c file. I would love to just get a rook on c1, put some pressure on c7.
Can we make any more little patterns? And I like the D file, there's another one we could show. I'm going to have to take all this paint off the board at some point.
Do you know how to make a green? You always use red.
Yeah, we just do that. There we
good,
go.
Brilliant.
Yeah. And I think there's another colour we can have as well. Oh no, maybe this one? Blue and yellow. Yellow! Oh, that is brilliant, I love it. So, is there blue as well? I don't know how to do blue. Don't push it too far, you know. Now I have to get rid of all these. Okay, I'll just play a move, that will probably do it. So yeah, very good position for white. So I mean, to sum up this match, I think we could say that Russia's better on 1, France better on 2, Russia better on 3, France better on 4.
So all the player with the white pieces, basically, doing well.
Yeah.
White pieces are better.
White pieces are indeed better. You heard it here first, or maybe not the first person to say it, but Runa. Correct. White is okay.
Should we check out the board 2 match in the open section?
Definitely.
We haven't had a look at that yet, and that's Hungary against Ukraine. So a game we were going to go to earlier is Ivanchuk against Leko, the top board there.
Wow.
Oh,
wow.
Pawn endgame.
Wow. And
what did I do?
I think Ivanchuk's in serious trouble. I mean, the reason I say that immediately is certain rules in chess, and indeed, if you have an outside pass pawn, and look at Andrew or Andy or Ari, Andrew here, the A pawn, is ready to advance simply to A4, and in king and pawn endings, having an outside pass pawn is nearly always a winning pawn to have. The same as in knight and pawn endings. Little rules you remember. I mean, for example, let's just say black, okay, we'll just give an example why this is going to be strong, because, you know, just the black king will have to come round to the A file to stop this pawn at some point, to stop the A pawn. And when the black king does come round to stop the A pawn, the king's going to be totally out of the game, so the white king will be able to come in and start grabbing black's pawn. So I think it's just a completely, I might be wrong, but it looks like a lost position. I mean, it looks to me like in this position, King C6 has been played. Ivanchuk, what's he looking like here? Well, it might. I mean, okay, if A4, I have to be a bit careful, because then you could turn the tables with C4 check. And now black gets the outside pass pawn by doing this, and black would probably be winning in this position.
Yeah, but do we have to take after C4?
After C4, well,
King
if you go King C3, then maybe I can take on B3 now.
Take on B5?
Well, I think a very good move here would be A5, actually. But then B4 check, and this doesn't look so bad. We don't need to rush her. Why are we rushing? I mean, we don't need to rush with A4 here. Instead, we can play King to C3 first, or even maybe King E4. Both of these moves look good. It's just pure calculation. But I like King C3. And now something like King to B6. Maybe we just go A4 here. I'll just demonstrate why this is a very good position. This ending might be useful for people at home if you have the outside pass pawn. Because now when black comes to take this, we will typically see the black king is a long way away from the action. The white king will come and march. So maybe it's a draw, but very tricky ending.
Simon, we've had our first joke in the chat.
Okay.
A chess joke as well.
A chess joke, okay.
It's a wordplay joke.
Okay.
It's by Guy Ute.
Yeah.
I'll read it out and see if you get it. Swiddler on the roof, hope he doesn't topple off.
I've actually used the name Swiddler on the roof in as a team name once. I don't know why. I just couldn't think of anything else. But Yeah, do you know any chess jokes, by the way?
No, I don't know any jokes in general. Sometimes I hear jokes that are so good and I'm like, oh, I need to remember this.
Yeah, I'm
and the
very bad
next
at
minute,
remembering.
it's gone.
Yeah, there was one chess joke, two people were playing chess together, and one of them said, should we make this more interesting? And the other guy goes, yes. So they went down the pub. So that's one joke, but it's maybe it's all about delivery, they say, isn't it? And maybe I haven't mastered the delivery yet. But I reckon I'd be a great stand-up comedian.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah, well, actually, Bjorn, our friend Bjorn Torfinson, actually said that he's going to get into stand-up comedy. Did you know this?
No, I didn't know. We should get Bjorn on the commentary here someday.
Definitely. King E4 being played.
Yeah.
Well, okay. I mean, so it's happened like this: King C6, King E4. Very tricky, probably losing ending for Black.
Yeah.
I'd imagine. So
my gut feeling tells me, but as we mentioned, endgames aren't about gut feelings. Pawn endgames. Pawn endgames are pure calculation. Yeah. So my gut feeling is not going to help very much here.
But I mean, we can do general principles, and we know this. And someone has pointed out that actually in Ginger GM's Endgame 2-part DVD set by Grandmaster and former world champion Nicholas Pertz, he covers this in great detail. And did you know, Fiona, you can download this DVD from my website, gingergm.com, for a very good price now, and you can download it immediately to your computer. And I think it's a bargain. It's a steal. I know you've downloaded all my DVDs, haven't you?
Illegally. No, I'm just joking.
No, I know. Okay, yeah. All right.
Aggressive Moment tells us Simon doesn't have to try to do stand-up comedy. He lives it.
I'm just a bit of a joke, basically. Is that what you're saying?
Someone didn't get your joke.
No, I didn't really get it either, to be honest. So, okay, well, let's now go to the next one of this match.
So on board 2, we have, I think, Richard Rapport against Pavel Ilyanov.
Good stuff. So let's bring this up.
Okay.
And what madness did happen? Well, I don't think we'll look at the opening.
And by the way, yet again, on the screen, on the left-hand side, you will all probably recognize the great Judith Polgar.
Indeed, behind Richard.
Yeah, who is the captain of the Hungarian men's team here.
Yes. Is it the men's team or the women's team?
No, the men's team.
The men's team, okay. Okay, so I think we're going to
Funnily, the captain of the men's team is standing right behind her, the guy in the beige sweater, that's Grandmaster Robert Ruck. And he's the captain of the Hungarian women's team. Okay.
And we have this position here. White seems to be doing very well here. I think Richard in serious trouble. Ilyanov, such a great play. He seems to be improving a lot. Someone also said I'm a joke, which is very nice. I would generally go along that. Thank you for that comment. Funny guy. White is doing very well. White is doing very well because, I mean, the bishop on b2 for a start, excellent minor piece. Having central pawns is generally much better than having outside pawns because the centre of the board is the most important part of the board. And it just seems like Black's a little bit underdeveloped here. I mean, you might be able to try knight a6 here and sack a pawn, try to get some counterplay like this, but I just don't really believe it. You know, if I just put my queen on c2 in a position like this, I don't think this knight idea has helped at all. And the d-pawn is looking incredibly strong. So that means so far this could be a win for White on both of the top boards. Let's have a quick look at board 3.
Coming back to Judith, Simon, what do you think? Do you think it is important to have a coach that's about the same level as the players? Like, how important do you think the strength of the captain in such tournaments is?
I mean, at teaching kids, you know, how to play chess, I don't really think it matters how strong you are. I mean, you wouldn't get like a professor or someone who's got the Nobel Prize in physics to go and teach a 4-year-old, you know, how to, you know, some physics thing. So I think, you know, but generally I think you should have a similar level to the players as you can. Yeah. I mean, the coach here for the English team, Peter Wells, is a really, really great player. He's a grandmaster, but he also has this amazing knowledge of chess, the Spielman for the women, and it's the same. So I think it's very important to have, at this level, probably a grandmaster, at least an international master.
I was going to say, I think on these team, like, top events, it's very important. It doesn't really, rating is maybe not necessarily the most important thing, but they need to have deep opening knowledge. I was recently watching this interview with Fressinet, who is the second of world champion Magnus Carlsen, and the interviewer was asking him, what do you work together on? And, you know, Fressinet was joking. He said, well, you know, I'm not teaching Magnus endgames, like, because he's about 10 times better than me.
Yeah.
So really, mostly all he does is just opening. So
Yeah.
I think the rating is secondary, but they need to, you know, be able. You know, also some teams here have a captain that's not really a chess player, but then they have a coach in the hotel. So you need to have someone to help the players out with the openings.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny because then we look at Nakamura, and Nakamura's actual coach as such is someone who's really not a very strong chess player. I don't
Chris
think.
Littlejohn?
Yeah, I don't think he's particularly strong, is he?
I think he's 1800 or something.
1800.
But I think he's very, very good with computers.
Okay, maybe that's the point. You
so
know.
he's just looking at computer lines, I believe, is what I heard.
Right. Okay.
And they're also great friends. So.
Yeah, I think that's the most important. I mean, okay, let's ask you a question, and I'll answer the same. If you got invited to a super tournament like the Women's World Championship knockout kind of thing, and you had to take 2 seconds with you, you give yourself 2 seconds normally. Which 2 seconds would you take?
So it's putting me on the spot here.
Do you want me to go mine first?
Yeah,
I'll go mine
yours.
first. The 2 seconds that I would take, I think, would be Luis Gallego for moral support. Anyone who knows Luis Gallego, he is maybe one of the most famous chess players in the chess scene. He's from Portugal's #1, Grandmaster Luis Gallego. I probably wouldn't have him for his opening knowledge, to be honest, but moral support. Yeah. And then if I had to pick another chess player who plays chess, who else would I pick? Maybe Gary O'Grady. Gary O'Grady. I think I'd have Gary O'Grady, my good friend Gary O'Grady. He's a complete patser. Yeah. A patser that maybe has actually beaten me once, but I think I'd have these two.
I think, I'm not sure about the second one, but the one person I would definitely take is the person who's been coaching me ever since pretty much I started playing. He used to be the coach of the Luxembourgish national team, and that's Grandmaster Vladimir Jansa from the Czech Republic. He's actually the coach of the Czech national team here, and he's also the personal coach of David Navarra. So I don't know very much about chess, but everything I know he has taught me. And he used to be one of the best grandmasters of his time, so I would definitely have him. And maybe as a second I would have Cédric Passy from France, who has seconded me and accompanied me in some of my tournaments before, and who I get on with very well, and who will be our coach at the next Olympiad in Baku, so I'm very much looking forward to that.
Yeah. We had a very nice tweet there.
Yeah, I was talking a bit too much.
No, never. You can never talk too much, Fiona. And the tweet was from King's Head Chess Club. So hello, King's Head Chess Club, one of the most friendliest chess clubs in London. And they're enjoying the commentary, so at least we got someone enjoying the commentary, which is a good
It's funny because I think some people love that we talk a lot of, not definitely,
rubbish.
You know, chess variations, and then others are like, oh, can you please shut up and go back to the chess?
Yeah, but we
try to balance it. Sometimes I get a bit carried away.
I think we both do, to be honest. But I mean, we're here to enjoy ourselves and hopefully make it as entertaining as possible. Right.
So back to the chess.
Yes, and this is the board 3 encounter, and this is between Korobov and Burks. And this, but yeah, Frank. You know what I mean. And Korobov is a very strong player from Ukraine, and well, they're both very strong players, but Korobov has the rating advantage, and this is a very
interesting material situation. So
very bizarre.
White has a queen, but black has 3 minor pieces, so a bishop and 2 knights. It's not every day we get to see these sort of material imbalances in practical games.
Very bizarre.
What would you take, the queen or the 3 pieces?
Such a hard. I mean, it's so hard to assess this position. Generally, maybe not this position, but generally, I always prefer 3 minor pieces compared to the queen. That would be my general considerations. I'd rather, for example, be black then, if I follow my general principles. But here, it looks to me it's fairly even, I'd say here, because white's pawns are doing a very good job of guarding a lot of squares, as we can see here, so it's very hard for black to move in with his pieces anywhere because of the white pawns, so they're doing a great job. But on the other hand, we mentioned this the other day in these material imbalances, one of the key things that you need to do when you have the minor pieces, in this situation black, is to make sure your minor pieces coordinate and defend each other. So, for example, knight on c5 defends the bishop here, the rook defends the knight, and it's very hard to attack the rook on c2. So black's pieces are actually, I think, quite nicely set up. Maybe white is going to try to use his e-pawn to create some damage. I don't know. It's very hard to assess. Very interesting and double-edged position here, and any result is possible in this complicated situation. Now, the last board, if we just go to that in this match. So we'll just move over to the last board.
So the last board, actually this was the last board. We need to look at.
Oh, that was the last board, my apologies.
So the third board is Almashi against Krivoruchko.
And again, this is quite an evenly match on rating. And okay, so Almashi with the white pieces. And okay, well, structurally, if we, again, one of the ways you assess positions, you can always start by looking at the pawn structure. And structurally, I like white's pawn structure a lot. We also talked about outposts on the early days here. I see a very nice outpost on c5 there. Yeah, this square here would be a lovely outpost if white can get a knight synced in there. And also, there's a very seriously weak backwards pawn on c6 that white is putting a lot of pressure on. And that's a very difficult pawn to defend. So I think Almasi's better. So this is a very, very close match. But Hungary seem to be holding their own so far against this Ukraine team, which are one of the strongest teams. And we have a smile on our face now, don't we, Fiona? Why do we have this smile?
Christmas come early.
Christmas has come early.
Pizza come early.
Brilliant. Thank you, Leonard.
And just to remind you guys, Hungary, although they are not among the top 5 seeds, they did get silver medals at the last Olympiad in Tromsø.
Yeah, definitely.
How about we go to our teams, England and France? Yeah, let's do it. I haven't seen England yet, so let's go over to England and have a look how they're getting on. And today they are playing against Germany. So we'll have a quick look at each boards here. Well, we had a draw already on the top board. Okay, so Mickey Adams has drawn with Nisipianu, and we won't bother looking at that game, I don't think. So Nisipianu is a very strong player, and I think they're very good friends as well. So, okay, that's fine. And teammates in Baden-Baden in the Bundesliga as well. So board 2, our good friend David Howell against Georg Meyer. Yeah. Georg Meyer may be one of the most solid players around. Very solid style, and he's very hard to break down. Plays a lot on chess.com as well, actually. Yeah, he's just a very good player. It's funny, he seemed to come out of nowhere, actually, at some point, because he was generally a 2400 player, and all of a sudden he jumped up. I remember playing him in the European Individual Championships when he was 2400, and then all of a sudden he gained loads of points. So he's about the same rating as me. I mean, he seemed to improve very quickly. I don't know. Do you think that's wrong? But anyway, I've known him for a long time because he comes from Trier, which is just on the border of Germany's, of Luxembourg, I mean to say. So I've more had the feeling he's always improved steadily and rather rapidly, but could be wrong. And well, if we look at the position, I think David has a very slight advantage here, because his piece is a better place, really, and he has chance to come in on the d file. I mean, there's an interesting choice that Black can decide. Black can take off this bishop now, but then he's got issues with a rook coming to d6, and most importantly, look at the two white square bishops. You mean to d7? D7, sorry, yeah. And White's bishop on g2 is so much stronger than Black's bishop on b7. So this should be a little bit better for White. I mean, you can go rook d8, but then my knight increases the pressure on c6. So I don't think taking on f4 is wise. But then if you don't take this one, White can always try to take on d5 and put a knight on d4, which is a beautiful square for the knight. It's a slight advantage to David there. And we can see Luke McShane on board 3 got his Christmas jumper out. Oh yes, yeah, he's got a lot of woolly jumpers, old Lukey, hasn't he? So he's you know, likes his woolly jumpers. And okay, so let's have a look at Lukey, shall we? So yeah, Luke, who was playing against Daniel Friedman. And Luke has the black pieces here, and current position. Friedman's a real tough player to play. He's very quick, been around for a long time, very experienced, and just generally a good person to have in the team. Quite up and down though. He had a bad tournament recently. So we have I think we've lost the people in the chat. They are not following us anymore. They're discussing they want to put together a chess band.
A chess band? Okay.
I've missed some of the chat, unfortunately, but the last thing I see is Aronian on the flute.
On the Baronian on the flute?
Yeah.
Okay, that would be a little bit
And someone
odd.
wondering who's on the didgeridoo.
The didgeridoo? I think I'd be a great didgeridoo man, don't you? I think didgeridoo is made for me. You could be. I think you could be a great singer, Fiona. Have you ever tried singing?
Yeah, I've sang David Howell's Happy Birthday.
Exactly.
But that was more than enough.
Actually,
I think I was once booed off the stage in a karaoke. So
really,
yeah,
that's harsh.
Yeah,
that's really harsh. That is. And yeah, I mean, I think Lisbeth Patz is a great singer, so she could be.
So is Emil Sutowski, actually, the president of the Association of Chess Professionals.
Yeah. Do you play any instruments?
I used to play the piano, but I gave up very quickly. I think I wasn't very gifted.
Okay, I used to play the guitar actually. So.
Maybe I think they were talking about we needed a bus driver. I can be the bus driver.
A bus driver, okay.
For the band.
Oh, you could be the groupie.
Yeah.
So.
Cheers. So, what do you think of this position?
I would say fairly balanced. I mean, white has the two bishops, but again, if we look at outposts, luckily Luke, Fluky Lukey, some people call him, but that's really unfair because he's not fluky. But he has this d5 square that he can try to consolidate his knight in at some stage, and d4 is a weakness in these positions.
How much of an advantage do you think the bishop pair is here?
I don't think it's much of an advantage, really. I mean, the bishop on f3 I do quite like because at least it controls d5 and pressurise c6. So it's not really much of an advantage at all. I mean, I don't think Luke should really break with e5, but that's certainly a move you would consider. But then by doing this, you really get rid of one of the weaknesses in the position, which was and is the pawn on d4. So
we've actually had some moves.
Okay, so I think that's that's a different game. That's the David Howell game. So, I mean, maybe a simple plan for black, something like knight to f6, rook to d8, and then put your knight on d5, and that is an outpost, can't be budged. And the knight could actually be better than the bishop in this position, I believe. So I think Luke's doing absolutely fine. David a little bit better. Luke absolutely fine. So it might depend on Gawain Jones.
Board 4, yeah.
So let's go to this board
People
now.
were talking about this game in the chat earlier. Very interesting French, apparently.
Okay, well, Gawain Jones was telling me this the other day. He was saying nowadays everyone plays the French against him.
Yeah.
You know, every single player decides to play the French against him because he's lost something like his last 5 games when he's faced the French, which is horrible. And, I mean, he's a great player, and I wouldn't dream of playing the French against him, I don't think, because he's just so dangerous and tactical, and I've lost against him in the French before. Yeah. So what is happening here? Well, okay, my first impression here, again, if we just go for that, is that I'm a little bit worried about Gawain's position. Maybe it's not too bad. Why am I worried? Because these knights, actually, in one of the books you mentioned earlier that Rowson wrote, I'm sure he wrote about these two knights. And what I mean by these two knights cover each other. So they're kind of getting in the way of each other, taking up squares that the knights can move to. And
also the knight on d2 can't move because it's protecting the knight on f3.
And the other way around, the knight on f3 can't move because the knight on d2 will drop to the rook. Bishop on b7 could be a little bit of a liability if white gets a chance to attack it. But on the other hand, it could also be a great piece. The knight on g2, well, and imagine now black's next move here will be knight to f4.
Yeah. And you know, another very famous author who has mentioned these two knights is Mark Dvoretsky, maybe the world's biggest endgame specialist. He mentioned that in his books called Opening Preparation. And the knights, it weren't those two knights, it was when one knight is on c3 and one knight on d5. And then he was saying that one of those knights is superfluous. Yeah. So the knights are on different squares here, but the same applies.
Same principle. Yeah, they kind of get in the way of each other. But I mean, again, it could be concrete calculation here. If it's white's move, very double-edged position. I mean, you could go rook b6, attacking the bishop, but then we're going to get very weird. I mean, I know I don't really want to take one of these knights off, but maybe in this position, I could take it off and just grab a pawn. I kind of feel that Gawain is certainly worse here, unfortunately. So I'm a little bit concerned about Gawain's chances in this position. So very, very close match, this one.
Can we please go to the French?
We can indeed, yeah. So let's go.
So the French are playing against Spain today. We had a look at Maxime Vachier-Lagrave's game earlier. We already had a draw on board 3, we mentioned that, between Salgado and Bacro, but the other boards are all still going. So let's update Vallejo against Vachier-Lagrave first.
This is the current position in this game. And White still has this extra pawn that Maxime grabbed earlier on. But again, White is under a bit of positional pressure. I mean, we mentioned the 2 bishops earlier on. Look at the bishop on d4. That's a very, very strong piece in the center of the board. Black has a nice pawn structure. White's piece is slightly offside, and the black rook is maybe threatening to come in at some stage. Even though White's a pawn up here, I would take Black in this position, because Black is much more active, exerting a lot of pressure with all of his pieces, and White is just very passive. What does White actually do here? That's the other question. If you're White, what can you play here? You don't, you know, you're running out of moves.
Very tied down, yeah.
Very tied down. You can't move your knights, you can't move your bishop, you can't really move your rook on c1. I mean, this is.
Yeah, I would definitely. I would offer you a bet, but I doubt you will take it.
What's the bet? What's the bet?
A glass of wine on Maxime Vachier-Lagrave to win this.
Oh, I can't take that one, I'm afraid.
Yeah.
No. I think France doing
something
very
else.
Well.
Yeah.
Let's try to get a bet in one of the other games, shall we?
Okay. So board 2, Laurent Fressinet against Anton David.
Yeah. If we don't have a bet soon, I'm going to start having cold sweats. I need to bet. Need to bet. So okay. And
so another end game, and again Black is a pawn up. Spain a pawn up in all the games. So how much compensation does White have here?
Well, again, it's quite funny because both French
sort of
players
same situation.
Same situation. And again, we see these 2 bishops is certainly one form of compensation. And again, we see that Black has some very weak pawns. I mean, his extra pawn is a pretty rubbish pawn. It's an extra double pawn. And with ideas of rook h1 coming in, threatening this, White seems to me to have very good compensation. I mean, you know, maybe just that though, because you know Black can defend with rook h8, and it might not be more than.
I think I prefer Maxime's compensation.
I agree. Do you want to have a bet on this one? I'll let you choose. You can choose anything, and I'll go the other way. How about that? Your clock is ticking.
Yeah. Of course, you know, I said I'm half French. I'm rooting for the French team. I would love to bet on Fressinet, but I'm not sure. I'm going to say this is going to be a draw.
Okay.
And you can take the other 2 results.
Okay, I'll take the other 2.
Okay.
So you're going to draw.
I'm down a glass already, right?
You're going to be down 2 glasses soon. So good stuff.
You know, there is only one bad outcome for me here, and that's if Black wins. Because if Fressinet wins, okay, I'll lose a glass of wine, but I'll still be happy.
It's worth it, yeah.
So
I agree with that. I mean, if you're a French supporter, which you are, and I like the French team; they're all very, very nice. So I don't know. I'm sure the Spanish are as well, but I just don't know them as well. So. And the last board here, so
the last board, yeah, maybe let's mention that. So, like, you know, you quite like to cheer on the English, I quite like to cheer on the French, but of course, that's because we have some friends down there, but I think the best team should just win, and, you know, we're not cheering against anyone.
No, sure, but we do have our favourites, because I'm from England and you're half French, so it makes sense to back the English. I mean, I'm not going to deny that I want the English to win. Be crazy too, and you know, got to be a bit patriotic.
So we're going to look at Kachiev against Ibarra, and then after that we're going to go on a very short break. Yeah. So a lot of pieces still on the board here. Only 2 pawns have been swapped.
What do you think's happening here? I mean,
I see an isolated pawn on d6.
Oh, that's right. I knew you were going to say that. So which side would you like to be?
Yeah, I'll take White instantly.
Definitely. Well, Fiona has an aversion to isolated pawns, and this guy on d6 is certainly a nasty isolated pawn. We'll come back to Carlsen, by the way, after the break, and we're going to, by a little bit of news, Sarek beat Shirov apparently in great style, so we're going to try to see if we can track Sarek down.
Saric.
So I think white is positionally just nicely better here. And the other thing is, it's not always the isolated pawn that is the weakness. Spassky made a very good point. And Spassky said the isolated pawn is not necessarily the weakness, it's the square in front of the isolated pawn. And that square is d5, and soon white will put a piece on d5, it will not move from d5, and it will really, in the middle of the board, very promising position for Tkachiev. So good. So I think we'll probably have a short break in a second or two. So just while we bring this up, and
thanks once again for watching us and keeping us company on the chat and on Twitter. And we'll be back very shortly.
Yes.
Long before man reached the remote island of Iceland, a land of ancient ice caves, sprawling glaciers and pristine water, a massive volcanic eruption occurred, creating the Ulvus Spring, a majestic underground spring deep below the Earth's surface. For 5,000 years, water has filtered slowly through layers of lava rock, creating exceptionally pure and naturally alkaline water with the perfect mineral balance. Clean, crisp, and untouched, discover Iceland's greatest natural resource. Icelandic Glacial.
And we're back here, round 5 of the European Team Championship in Reykjavik. And we're gonna go straight back to a game you always want to see, and that's world champion Magnus Carlsen with the white pieces against Yannick Pelletier from Switzerland.
Indeed. So I think we'll go back to the position which we saw last, because it's always quite instructive to see how Magnus plays these types of positions, because he really gets blood out of the stone. Yep. And here Pelletier decided not to exchange knights, and he went knight b6 instead. And he was clearly concerned about the white rook becoming very active. So now Magnus brings his king into the centre, and this is a very good idea here. I mean, the knight on c5 is a beautiful piece, and here Magnus starts gaining space on the other side of the board, so f4, and this gives him potential to play f5 at some point, opening up some lines. Pawn to a5 played, and now a little bit of manoeuvring, knight to d3, allowing the white rook access in, hopefully. Knight d5, lovely square for the knight, that one. So that was Pelletier's idea, and it looks like a very sensible idea to get the knight in the centre of the board, where it's guarding against a rook c7 check. So rook c5, very active rook. Magnus certainly slightly better here, and his piece is taking up very nice central squares. And now a4, fixing black's pawn on a5. And one of the main problems Pelletier has at the moment is the passivity of his rook on a8. And when you're playing any kind of rook ending, that's a worrying thing, because you want to get your rook as active as possible. So I think this is really a 2-result game, especially when it's Magnus. And that is either a draw or a win for Magnus. So we haven't seen him win yet, so, you know, it'd be nice to see.
Would be about time.
It would definitely be about time for the world champion to win.
I would when we're done with Magnus, go to the women's section and board 2, because there we have 2 teams we haven't really seen yet, and that's Romania and Ukraine. Okay. But let's first finish assessing what's going on here.
Definitely. And okay, well, now Magnus makes a pawn break, and obviously the idea of this is to get an outside past a pawn, and this happens very quickly with the white king coming here, and now we have this as the current position. And okay, so this, how strong is this passed pawn on a4? Is it going to be a game winner? I mean, I think the main issue again that Pelletier has is just the passivity of his rook on a8. If you could,
didn't we have more moves actually?
We have a couple more moves. I'm sure it updates soon, but if we can move the rook on a8 to like somewhere a lot more active, then I think black would be absolutely fine, if not better. But even here, I'm not sure. I'm not sure that Magnus really has much of an advantage, you know. Okay, so Tarry 1. We'll come back to that game shortly, because that was interesting.
So you can see that in the background there, the third board of this match. We had a little bet on that earlier, and he didn't win in less than 25 moves, but he won. Nevertheless, so
got there in the end anyway. So yeah, he's always going to win that game. And okay, so I don't know. I mean, the body language there. I mean, you say you could tell quite a lot from Magnus. You pointed out before. I would say that he's not entirely happy with this. No. I mean, the current position, which I'm trying to wait for the moves to update, doesn't really look like he's going to. It's certainly not much better for him, if better at all, because his a pawn is firmly blocked. So okay, he's going to grind away, and we'll come back to that a bit later on, I think, because it's going to be a long Magnus-like endgame.
Shall we? I don't think we actually need to update Tarry's game, because he had an endgame 2 pawns up. Sure. So let's go to the women's section, match number 2, and that is Hungary against Ukraine. Sorry, Romania against Ukraine.
Okay, so we're just going to find this now. Here we go. And
no, sorry. Oh yeah, is it Hungary?
That is in the men's section.
No, that's the men's. It's Romania against Ukraine.
Okay. And we got the superstar player for the Romanian team, haven't we? He's got 4 out of 4 so far.
Mihaela Sandu.
Having a very good tournament. And the interesting...
So we had a draw. Yeah, we had a draw on the top board between Foyjo and Maria Muzikchuk, the women's world champion.
So that's quite good for Romania. And this is quite interesting, because I know in the Ukraine team, you got one of the players actually accused Sandu of this cheating allegation, which we discussed yesterday, so we won't go into it again. So a bit of maybe bad blood in this match. Even I certainly wouldn't be happy playing against someone who accused me of cheating.
Luckily, they are not facing each other over the board.
They're not, no. But let's have a look.
So let's go to Mihaila's game. That's
definitely
board number 4.
Yeah.
Ushenina. Oh wow, we had a result on the top board of the top match of the women's section. You can see the arbiter just putting the kings in the center there, and Alexandra Kostaniuk beat Marisa back. We were thinking she was better.
Yeah, we thought that was a very likely result according to the position. But that match was very close as well, because it looked like Strykchenko was winning her game, or better. I wouldn't say winning, but better in her game. So it's still a very close match. Everyone with white in that match had a nice advantage.
In fact, when we talked about that match, I received a tweet from Leo who was saying, "Don't count out 16-year-old Goryachkina. She is a resourceful grinder who will pounce on her opponent's errors."
Yeah, certainly.
So we will update that in a second.
Sure.
But now we're with Anna Ushenina and Mihaila Sandu.
And Mihaila Sandu has...
who started with 4 out of 4.
4 out of 4, yeah. So she's having a great tournament, clearly underrated. But this is a tough game for her. She's playing very strong player from the Ukraine. And
former world champion.
Former world champion, who actually failed once to checkmate with bishop and knight versus king, which was quite embarrassing, actually, if anything. But, I mean, it's very hard to do. You either know it or you don't. Still a bit embarrassing. OK, so knight to e4 being played. And we are just wondering...
So did white just win a pawn there? Or
well, white is 1 pawn up, but maybe this is some kind of sacrifice, because it looks like black has quite decent counterplay, maybe, but the black king's exposed.
Okay, so let's just show you can't take on d5 with the queen.
On d5.
Because of knight f6? Oh, I'm sorry, I'm completely hallucinating.
Whoa, that was a big hallucination there.
I was just going to take my own pawn.
Yeah, you're going to take whoa, you really confused me there. I've seen kids do that when they play. I mean, take their own pieces. That's great.
I have suggested some bad moves in the past, but I think never quite taking my own.
I think I've done that before as well. It's a mistake that you can make when looking
so
at
the
screen.
So I wanted to point out that queen takes d5 wasn't working because of knight f6.
You wanted to do that move?
Yeah.
You wanted to go queen takes d5?
And my point was it doesn't work because of knight f6 check.
I have no idea what's going on now. So you didn't want to go queen takes your own pawn because of knight f6 taking your own queen with your own bishop. Wow, that's deep. That's really that's a crazy combination.
Oh, sorry.
No, it's all right. It's a complicated position, very complicated position here. So
clearly,
there's a lot of pieces doing a lot of things though. Yes, so I don't know.
So what else can black do if not queen takes d5?
Whose move is it? Black's move. Okay. Yeah. So, well, I think one of the issues is if you take on e4, then you'd love to move your g pawn back to g7, but pawns can't move backwards. There was that famous thing about the Dutch defense, which Yusupov once said that often the best move in the Dutch defense is pawn on f5 to f7, which you play in move 1. And you'd love to play that move. I mean, I think an interesting version of chess would be if your pawns could move backwards. But yeah, no, you can't. So this is the problem. The black king looks very weak
Maybe
now.
someday if chess is solved.
Maybe, yeah, maybe they'll bring this rule in. I don't like that. I don't like taking the knight. But if you can't take the knight, what else can you do? And the black king is looking quite weak. So I say white's better here, unfortunately. So I want black to do well.
Yeah. So let's go to board 2, maybe. And Anna Muzichuk against Irina. You just opened the same.
Yeah.
So Anna Muzichuk against Irina Bulmaga, who has a chess blog, writes there very frequently, so you can check that out.
I think she played also, Irina played in the same tournament as her in England, so I think she's got in Bournemouth.
Yep.
She's got a sister, I think, who is in England, so some English connections.
Elena
Bulmaga. And okay, well, knight to e3. Looks like we can get a concrete assessment because black is going to win here. I mean, there's a check on d8. Don't ever forget this trick. It can be quite devastating at times. But
here black has to go king h7.
Yeah. and we can throw this check in and some exchange of queens. I don't know if the check has helped or not. Black is a pawn up. Black is doing very well, actually. This could be a big upset, couldn't it? I mean, outrated here. Is this really the position?
And
this
with
is
black,
and with black. And if this is the correct position, then simply queen takes c5. Very nice position. Backless c pawn.
Wait, what are we talking about? After rook d8, king h7, we can just take on c8.
Yeah, it's one of those days, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yes. Rook takes c8, of course.
Yeah, so queen c5 doesn't work.
Well, if queen c5 doesn't work, that's a bit worrying.
Let's just point out again after queen c5.
Sure, yeah.
Rook d8, so you can take on d8.
Yeah, I just totally forgot that. Obviously, this is the whole point of the combination. That rook takes c8 just wins a rook. So we can't take the piece back. That's a bit more worrying then. If we can't take the piece back, we're going to have to take that at some point, aren't we? Do we go king h7 first then? Can we play this with the idea of taking next move? But then it's a bit more unclear, certainly. I can even go bishop takes a7 at the worst case scenario here, with the point being that the ending after, you can't take the bishop because your rook drops, but the ending here is a totally different ball game. Maybe something like bishop d4. Might not be that bad for black. I'll probably still take black here actually, but 2 pass pawns for white. So it just depends if king h7 is playable or not. It's one of those positions where...
Let's check if we had some moves.
No, still on the thing. So
and we had a result. Maxime Vachier-Lagrave, we were feeling very optimistic about his chances. He was a pawn down, but loads of compensation. He has won his game against Vallejo. So Vallejo could have taken an early draw by repetition, decided to play on, which is a brave, good decision for us, for the spectators, but ended up losing. So very good result for France there.
Certainly, and actually, MVL of Maxime is having a very good tournament with the black pieces. I think he beat someone else earlier on with black as well. I'm just trying to remember who it was on board one. Someone very strong. So
of course.
Oh, of course.
Aronian.
Oh, yeah, he beat Aronian. Well, that's so.
But with the white pieces, in a Berlin.
Berlin, yeah. So he's had some very, very good results.
We have some young fans there behind us,
running away because they're embarrassed now. So, yeah, great. And okay, so this position. Okay, I think we're going to have to wait and see with this one. See if black can get the piece back. If black can get the piece back, black will be fine.
So just one last match game for us to look at, and that is Elena Kosma against Natalia Zhukova.
Yeah, and we'll just go to the current position there. And obviously black is the current European ladies champion, Zhukova, and so incredibly strong player. And we have equal material in this position. Black playing on the queen side, so black has control on the queen side, but white has control on the king side. So kind of double-edged.
What do you make of this position?
Hard to assess. I mean, the knight on d3, extremely strong piece, but the black king seems to be slightly weaker than the white king. But I mean, you'd like to play the move e6 at some point. If you can play that, maybe some play, but I don't think that's going to happen. I mean, I think I'd take black here for now. Black seems to be doing quite okay in this
The bishop
position.
is looking quite nice on g2, but it's not really doing very much.
No, it's not actually.
Maybe we can bring it to h3 at some point.
Maybe e4 to try to swap off this strong knight. I think the move, if it's white's move, I'd certainly want to play e6.
Or maybe bishop e4 followed by e6.
And attack g6, yeah. So it's a very double-edged position. Anything possible in this game, so definitely. Okay, so where should we go now?
I think let's go back to the top match of the day, and that is Russia against Azerbaijan. So we had 2 draws in that already. A draw between Swidler and Mamedyarov, and another draw between... and we have a guest.
Yay.
And I think I'm going to have to take this one.
I'll let you take this one as your
half French.
You're half French, and I can have another piece of pizza. But okay, I'll let you do this. So we're very privileged to have Maxime come and join us.
And maybe Maxime can help us have a look at this match.
Sure, at the other games, maybe the
will be very helpful.
Definitely.
So stay tuned, and we're going to be joined by Grandmaster Maxime Vachier-Lagrave in just a second. And we're back, and we're joined by Maxime Vachier-Lagrave. Maxime, welcome and congratulations.
Yeah, thank you.
It could have been a short game today, but you won in the end. What was your strategy? You're going to talk us through the game in a second, but we had a very famous opening, which was at the heart of a big controversy in Las Vegas recently, if I'm not mistaken. So maybe if you just talk us through the beginning of the game, we will get to this possible repetition.
Well, I mean, I think Paco was repeated the first time just to play 2 more moves, because he maybe wasn't sure how much time he was going to spend afterwards, and maybe, you know, to confuse me as well. But I don't think it ever was in his intention to repeat. But I mean, if you had repeated, of course, I would take the repetition. I'm black. In this match, so
we saw the French team. This has been your strategy throughout. Even in round 1, we saw your last board, Kachev, take a very quick draw with the black pieces. So a draw as black is always fine, especially on this level, or?
Well, I mean, it depends, of course, on how the match is going, you know, on the boards. But here it made a lot of sense. I mean, if the game barely starts and we get 1 draw with black, generally it's just fine. Of course, it might happen that it's not good.
And Laurent Fressinet has just finished his game.
What was the result?
And what was the Simon and I actually have a bet on this, so very interested.
I think draw, yeah.
It was a draw, so that's 1 glass of wine for me. So that means you also now have at least a draw in the match. You're leading 2-1.
Well, no, I mean, I don't think Vlad is going to lose anyway.
So probably a victory for France, but we will come to Vlad's position, if you don't mind, once you've shown us your game.
Yeah, so okay, anyway, I think he played this h4, which is interesting. Normally, after bishop g7, if you want to go h4, normally you go something like bishop e2, h5, h4, which is one of the critical lines. But h4 right away, I mean, I'm not even sure I ever saw this move. I mean, it looks very logical to let black keep this knight on g4, but
he played it very quickly.
No, I mean, it was his preparation, I'm guessing. And so anyway, after a while I couldn't find anything wrong with knight c6, but I missed what he played in the game. But still, it looks like a very reasonable move to make, because if you don't play it now, I mean, after pawn takes, maybe white can take even with a rook, and I was not sure about playing like this. Maybe it's just fine. I mean, I will need to check more carefully, but knight c6 felt very natural. And here after bishop c4 I realized that, I mean, his idea is just to get the bishop to b3, and somehow every time I play knight e5 he can just, I mean, say I play rook b8, bishop b3, knight e5, now he will just take everything and play queen h5, which shouldn't be to my taste. So, well, I was looking for a while, I was not finding anything that satisfied me, let's say, because white just threatens bishop b3 after rook b8 and then just play some queen f3 or e5 or whatever, and I never have e6 right now, so I thought for a while and then I came up with a solution which I liked. I mean, first of all, I was not sure he would have analyzed this line, which, I mean, I'm giving up a pawn for starters, so...
How do you feel at the board when you're confronted with a move like h4, where you realize it's his preparation, you maybe haven't seen it before?
Yeah, I mean, well, in general, if it's never been played so early in the game, at least so early in the theoretical discussion, as there have been at least, I mean, around 1,000 games and modern games, I mean, between also top players, so you know, if h4 was really strong,
it would have been found before.
It would have been found, so you know, and then there are the practical problems you have to solve, and of course this is another matter. And well, this is why I was happy with this solution. I mean, objectively, I'm not even sure I should be worse. But also, I mean, I'm getting this pair of bishops, these fantastic pieces, and okay, my king is pretty safe. So I thought, in the worst case, I have very decent compensation, even if I happen to be slightly worse. So anyway, one of the points is you cannot take on g5 right away because I just played d5. This intermezzo should be good for me. I mean, no, if you take on h6, I take on c4, take on g7, rook h1. This is not the end of the story, but this should be pretty good for black. I mean, you might have some chances for a draw after rook h8, but that's basically all you can opt for. After d5, there's also this piece sacrifice, but I don't think it works even if I play basically any move like rook b8 should be just fine. And I mean, of course, it looks a bit risky, but my pieces are standing so well that I don't think I should have any problem. On the contrary, I mean.
So were you actually happy when he decided not to repeat, and especially when he played h4, which landed you in a very open, double-edged position where maybe...
I couldn't know if I was happy, because you never want to run into your opponent's preparation, but once I found this solution, I was pretty happy with my position. So if you take with a queen on f7, no, I just play rook f8. And queen g6 might be the best move, because of course if queen h5 you have, say, queen c5, which could be nasty.
Attacking c4 and f2.
Yes, exactly. But after queen g6 I have bishop f5, queen h5, and here I was not sure, but again just take, castle, and yes, and here I have pawn takes g5 with the idea rook h8. So I'm guessing it should be quite bad. So actually, I mean, and here again I was happy, but I had found this rook b8 in advance when I played queen a5. And the point is, no, you cannot castle because I take on g5 with check, so you don't have time for rook h5, and bishop g4 is next. I think the critical move was pawn takes h6. No, there are a few details. So if I take on b2, at first I thought this was completely fine for me. King d2, queen d4 check, queen d3, queen f2 check, knight e2, queen f7, and I assumed after rook h1, queen g7 I was just fine. Then I noticed white has this tricky move, and I think I'm might not be really so much worse, but you know, I'm only begging for a draw now. I mean, this, for instance, could be really quite unpleasant to face. I think white is actually probably just better.
I know this because I asked you recently, because I will be working at the London Classic where you will be playing, and I asked you how you would characterize your style, and you told me it was a lot based on calculation. So you think this was a position which suited your style? Because there was a lot of calculation involved, or?
Well, I mean, of course, here I definitely had a lot of to calculate, but you know, it's also possible to blunder things. I mean, like this queen g3, I could easily have blundered it. Actually, here I was even considering just taking on a1 as well. And after king c7, I was just not happy about the fact that white has queen e8, for instance, and I'm not in time to create any counterplay on white's queen. White's king, because otherwise, I mean, my king looks safer than white's, but it's not the case at all.
You know, sitting here in my position, I'm always very impressed when I'm joined by players like you showing us all these lines, and I always think like, wow, I wish I was like that. And then I wonder, do you have fun at the board figuring out lines like this, and especially when you manage to, when you feel you've solved them, like?
Yeah, of course. I mean, every time there's a complicated puzzle to solve, and you know, you manage it correctly. I mean, I cannot say right now that I managed it correctly. I could be missing something very simple, but yeah, I mean, when your head is working properly and it feels like it is, it's always a good feeling, of course. But anyway, I mean, then the fun gets spoiled because I probably would just have taken back the pawn. And I'm 2 pawns down, but white cannot castle. I mean, there's this pawn on b2, which is a problem. So you play bishop b3, I just play king c7, and I mean, it's just so easy to play with black now. Pair of bishops, and there's no easy way for white to consolidate or, you know, manage to castle. You would need a few more tempes to play g3, f4. So, I mean, I'm not sure, maybe I'm just worse, but at least in a practical game, it looks quite nice. Yeah, there my first idea was to take back with the queen, but then I was not happy with this move. And white gives up an exchange, but there's a lot of counterplay suddenly. So I decided to go for the endgame. I thought it's more or less equal, but it's not easy. Anyway, I mean,
so what do you think was the critical point of this game? Is it passed already? Like, how did you evaluate this endgame? You're pawn down, you have loads of...
We passed definitely one very critical point. Around, you know, after rook b8, say, and knight e5 or so. Then I don't know, I mean...
How did you evaluate this endgame for you?
I mean, I thought it was... I more or less had no risk, because simply it's too difficult for white to consolidate his position. Say, this bishop on b3 is dead, and you know, you cannot easily castle. You always have this king side to care about, so it's just too much. I mean, my counterplay is too fast. I don't know. I'm guessing this when you have to play knight a4 and c4, and you know, you just don't have a useful move here with white. I mean, this knight is never going back for now. I mean, maybe actually at some point. Not now, but I mean at some point he should have gone for this endgame, which is slightly worse, but maybe all double. But anyway, here as it stood, actually here, I mean, I was like thinking like, why didn't I play, for instance, this move? I mean, I might just be pushing a4 next move, and you know, after knight d5 I have a choice. I can play first any move like rook b7, but then the knight goes back to c3, so you never know, but I can also just take, and this endgame is probably just technically lost.
Okay, yeah.
But, well, anyway, I put up some pressure, and here I think...
right, we were feeling a bit sorry for Vallejo when we looked at
rook
this.
h1.
Yeah.
I mean, to avoid bishop c4 and rook b2. And, well, it's worse, but maybe not... maybe it's still holdable, but of course here after rook g3, the only move would be rook f1, but bishop h3 is just winning, and, well, here after bishop c4, if bishop c4 rook b2 ends the game. So
so a very nice victory for you today. Your team France, you drew, I believe, the last 2 matches.
Yes.
So it's quite important for you to win today. And shall we maybe go to board number 4?
Well, I mean, it's just an action jab. I mean, Vlad is just an action jab.
Shall we maybe show that? So if you close this game completely, and then just double click on,
Yeah, I mean, Vlad is just an action jab, as we can see. Took on a5, I think.
Yep.
Knight takes d5, rook takes d5. So he's definitely not going to lose, and honestly, I mean, his king might look a bit weak, but you know, his queen is also in time to join the long diagonal, so I think...
So you think he's winning?
Yeah, he's just winning.
Okay, so that's going to be a very important victory today. We can probably exclude, hopefully, that he will lose this match. So tell us, how do you feel? You won the silver medal in the European teams with France 2 years ago. How is the atmosphere this year?
Well, I mean, everything is going absolutely smoothly so far. So, I mean, if we don't take into account the events in
I was
Paris,
going to ask you about that.
Otherwise, as a team, we're standing absolutely great. I mean, it's been a few years since you know, we put behind this story with Feller. I mean, this cheating story, but since we put it behind, we've definitely had a lot of good times.
Also, with this victory today, you're personally back into the live top 10. We saw your game. So there you are in 10th position. We saw your game early in the tournament. You had a very nice victory against Ironian. So what does that mean to you? Or is the team in the first place here?
Well, I mean, in general, of course, I prefer to see the team doing well, and so far. But I mean, if we can do both at the same time, it's, you know, a good idea. It's, you know, a bit of... It's kind of sweet for me, especially as after, you know, I had a awful first 6 months, you know, and, well, I mean, I think that when I'm playing in better shapes, top 10 is more or less where I belong. But it's really, you know, it's just a number, and it doesn't matter to get back for one day in the top 10. I mean, my goal is to stay there for, I mean, quite a long time in a row, like a few years, and we'll see how this goes.
Last question, you mentioned the terrible events of Paris. How did the team deal with that? You won on that day a very important, well, the day after, a very important match against Armenia. So how did the team deal with this terrible events?
Well, we learned about it, you know, the night before. We were just, you know, checking. I was just checking Twitter because to see the updates on the France against Germany football match, and then I noticed these events, I mean, rolling out in my timeline, and, well, I mean, the more time was going, the more awful it looked, and of course it was really really unpleasant. I mean, we had really a rough few days after that, but well, our main motivation was, you know, to show that life has to continue after that, and not simply not to show any weakness. I mean, this felt like also the right thing to do, and to just keep on playing, to try to keep enjoying things, even though we didn't want to enjoy anything.
While I have you here, do you mind if I ask you for your opinion on the 2 remaining games in the Azerbaijan against Russia match?
Yeah, sure.
They're probably your next opponents, one of them. So let me see. Yeah. Oh, wait, just wait. Close everything again. Just, yeah, then just double click.
Yeah, sure.
So first.
Okay. I don't think we need to dwell on the Tamor game against Sasha. I mean, it's technically slightly better for Tamors, but you know, I'm pretty sure that I've seen Sasha draw much other positions, much other weekend games than this one.
So you're predicting a draw. So this is the second board game, Rajabov against Grishuk in the top match encounter between Azerbaijan and Russia. We already had 2 draws, so this is probably going to be the 3rd draw there. So everything will most likely depend
on Jan Nepomniachtchi against Akadinaidic.
So on board 3, Nepomniachtchi against Naidic. Few more pieces on the board there.
Well, I mean, here white is definitely pressing, but if you don't have
if you just untick the box on the left corner, then you can show some variations. Yeah.
Yes. Well, I mean, you have to play king g7, of course, here. And here it's a matter of if you're in time to do something. I mean, the one thing that would come to mind is just to take the pawn now, but after bishop d5 it's not clear how you do that. And I mean, even if you do, it's not clear how to break through. I mean, this generally f6 and f7, h6 is a very sad pawn stretcher to have, but when there's no queens, there's no dark squared bishop, I mean, to put pressure on f6, it's actually not so bad, because you're preventing any creation of any passed pawn. This is a point. I mean, imagine that black loses his pawn on e4. You just don't have an idea how to create a passed pawn, and you have to liquidate a lot. And meanwhile, the king on g7 is standing pretty good. So I would give a lot. I mean, a lot of chance to Arkady to make a draw here.
Okay, so I'm going to keep you for one more second, and we're going to go to another match, because we're here. The world champion, Magnus Carlsen, has apparently blundered. So that's Norway against Switzerland. If we go down, yeah. So, against Yannick Peltier, who you know very well. You played with him on the same team for a few years.
So let's see where the blunder was, because he was definitely pushing. Oh, this is just bad, yeah. Yes, I mean, the blunder is this one, rook g8, which feels like a very natural move to make, but unfortunately, after knight e7, the rook and the knight are under attack. No, black's rook and black's knight are under attack, but after the simple rook d7, well, black is now just a piece up. Still, I mean...
Do you think there are any chances for Carlsen to make a draw here?
I think it will be very tough to make a draw, but there are some practical chances. I mean, you have 2 pawns, but technically it should be lost, and actually I expect Yannick to win this now.
How do you explain, what is your personal explanation behind Magnus' very bad results every time he plays for Norway? We see him there on the camera, he looks absolutely disgusted. How do you explain it?
Well, I mean, in general, his results have not been the same this year, especially starting from this tournament in Norway. I mean, he had 2 great events in Vaikanzi and in Shamkir, but after that it was a bit downhill. But you know, I think it was an anomaly that he was not, you know, having any weak moments for a few years. He was really doing great. All the time he was playing, and this is a level of stability that, you know, I have never known how to manage, and we could see that in the first part of my year, and I'm pretty sure everyone was having a rough patch, I mean, every now and then, and right now it's his case. Well, I mean, it still, you know, doesn't, I mean, the fact that we're expecting so much of him all the time just goes to show how matured he is, I mean, compared to the other players, like as a world number one. And I mean, still is, even though we can assume that the gap might be reducing also. I mean, this might be another part of an explanation.
Yeah. And Yannick Pelletier, we were actually, he's not just a very strong GM, but he's also the tournament director of maybe your favorite tournament, Biel, where you have won 3 times?
4 times.
4 times already. I need to keep up. He beat Nakamura in the European Club Cup in Skopje, and he's now on the verge of beating Carlsen. So, very impressive results lately by Yannick.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with this. Also against Hikaru, I mean, I was standing there because I was actually Hikaru's teammate, and it was a very impressive piece of preparation by Yannick. Well, I mean, here you cannot say his win is, I mean, if he wins, you cannot say it is deserved, but you know, I mean, kudos to him also to not collapsing under pressure, because his position looked very dangerous, especially against Magnus. And well, I mean, this is already one achievement. We have to credit him. I mean, spotting that Magnus anger piece, you know, I mean,
doesn't happen every day.
Yeah, but it's probably not the one thing you will be the most proud about. I mean, but okay, you
will always take a win against Magnus Carlsen.
Yeah, of course.
Okay, great. So I will thank you very much for joining us here, and wish you best of luck for the rest of the tournament, and enjoy tomorrow's rest day.
Yeah, thank you.
So thank you, and see you. And Simon will be back with us in a second, so stay tuned.
We decided to change the lighthouse into a high-end hotel, because who doesn't want to stay in a lighthouse? It's absolutely incredible way to experience Iceland, and we have lighthouses all around the country, but no one has ever had the opportunity to stay in one before until now. The lighthouse is located on the south coast of Iceland, on an amazing nature reserve with a view towards the glaciers on one side and out to the sea on the other.
We have the black beaches, the stones. We have, of course, the color of the sea. When you are coming from the beaches and upland, we have the green grass, and we have all the Icelandic sheep. All of this has been an immense force of inspiration. The idea is to try to get some customers to experience something unique. I would like the customer to feel warm and comfortable. I would like them to be inspired by the situation of the lighthouse, and to be, of course, inspired by the nature.
and we're back here at the 5th round of the European Team Championship. And just before we left, I was with Maxime Vachier-Lagrave, and we saw that world champion Magnus Carlsen has incredibly blundered a piece. So we're going to go straight back there. And how do you explain something like this, Simon?
Wow, I mean, I just did this article recently for chess.com, which should be coming up. You can look at it for free, on people blundering pieces, and it actually happens more than you think, but it is an extremely rare occurrence, especially for a world champion. I mean, they're a world champion for a reason. They hardly make any mistakes, but let alone blundering a whole piece.
Yeah,
it's
quite
crazy.
an easy mistake to spot as well.
I've absolutely no idea what's going through his brain, because if we just go to that point again, because it is really one of the biggest blunders, I would unfortunately say, for Magnus, that a world champion has ever made. I mean, that's saying quite a lot, but I've seen some blunders by world champions. Yeah. But in a long play game, when he clearly had a lot of time on the clock, as we can see, he had absolutely no reason to worry on the clock. We go to the position where he did blunder, and to be honest, I mean, rook g8 here was an absolutely unbelievable move. So absolutely unbelievable move, okay, because after rook g8...
But actually, did he blunder before? Because what could he do?
Well, you can always go rook to b5 here, I think, can't you? Possibly.
Oh yeah,
just do this. I mean,
yeah, sorry, it just needs to not,
just not leave the rook on pre. But rook g8 for a world champion is just really unheard of, because now knight to e7 simply attacks the rook, and it attacks the knight. So that really gives everyone out there
and we
quite a lot.
Sorry, Simon,
right.
Because we had this tweet earlier, but I didn't want to interrupt Maxime to read it out. So we had Tarjei tweeting at us saying he can't remember the last time Carlsen had a plus result. Oh, so this is a different tweet already. So yeah, he says he can't remember the last time Magnus had a plus result in a team event, and he tweeted at us earlier saying this could well be the 3rd time Maxime loses to Peltier. So, wow.
Yeah, I mean, like we said this at the start of the tournament. We basically mentioned that Carlsen playing this event is very risky just on past team event scores, and I think this kind of shows that, you know, the divide between strong 2,500 GMs, and there's thousands of them literally, and the world's top might not be as big as some people think, you know.
And we have a result on board 2. I think the pat on the back of Magnus Carlsen to John Ludwig Hammer indicates...
We'll have a look at that in a second, at the end of that game. And there's Ivan behind John Ludwig Hammer. But yeah, I mean, it really is quite unheard of to see a blunder like this. But I kind of think if a 2,500 Grandmaster has a good day and plays a good game, then actually, you know, even the world champion will struggle to beat them. You know, I think they find it very hard to win the game. So it's maybe not that much of a gap at the top, but okay, he's world champion for a reason. I could be, you know, not going a bit over the top.
This Magnus' bad form this year, as Maxime mentioned, he's had quite a bad year. I think it's going to be very interesting to see also how Magnus Carlsen does in Qatar, which will be the first time ever a world champion participates in an open tournament. So a busy month of December coming up for Carlsen. He will play in the London Chess Classic, and he will play in Qatar, so he will have a chance to bounce back, but if things don't go well, it could also spell trouble for him.
Yeah, I mean, he's having a tough time at the moment, but he is an unbelievable world champion, and he is an incredibly good game. Clearly still, in my opinion, the best player in the world, and he has proven that on numerous occasions. But, you know, he just needs to bounce back somehow, you know, because everyone has a bad time at some point, really.
What happened today really surprises me, because as Maxime mentioned when he was here with us earlier, he actually had a good position today, maybe unlike yesterday where he was... His opponent was having a rather aggressive approach. Today, Magnus was actually the one pushing and pressing, and we thought he was going to just grind it out.
It's literally one of those blunders that, you know, if I played, I'd be horribly embarrassed. And even if a club player played that, I would, you know, it's kind of the blunder that you just don't see at top level. So it's very hard for Magnus, but it's just just shows you that, you know, it's possible for anyone. So I mean, at least that can give a bit of warmth to maybe players at home who blunder. You know, if the world champion can blunder, there's still hope for you guys out there, and me as well, because I blunder still, unfortunately. So
I think I want to go to a game that's probably not very good news for you, and that is Luke McShane probably getting mated.
Yeah, I just wanted to have a look at the current position of Magnus game, just see if there was any hope briefly before we go to Luke's. But in general, it looks very bad. Black's piece is coordinated. I mean, if you can somehow sop off Black's 2 remaining pawns, you might draw. But with correct play, it's certainly a lost position. Okay.
We have people in the chat wondering if the reason behind Magnus' bad play is that he has a girlfriend now, and Aggressive Moments is asking me to shed light on the fact that Magnus has a girlfriend now and is doing worse. We don't actually know about Magnus' love life situation, and I think this tournament will not be the right time to ask him.
Yeah, you could go and ask him after the game, maybe, see what he says, but I don't think it's a good idea to say anything to him after this game. He's just going to want to run away, basically. And, well, bad news here for England. It looks like our rivals in football, who always beat us in football, Germany, literally, they just, I mean, penalty shootouts in football, the amount of times we lost in penalty shootouts. This looks
very much like a football score as well here.
Exactly, yeah. Well, we did beat them in football once, I think 5-1, but we've lost in the World Cup so many times to these guys. It's so annoying, and it looks like we're going to lose yet again to them in the chess.
I don't think that is actually, is that correct? I think the score is currently 1.5.
Yeah, the score's wrong. The score's wrong up there. It's not 2-0 to Germany. That's a bit too much.
So we had 3 draws so far, I believe. So yeah,
3 draws. So
that was from the previous match. Norway is 2-0 up. So the score here is 1.5.
And whoever wins this game, which is going to be Daniel Fridman, I think Luke's going to resign any second now, because there's no way he's going to obviously be able to stop checkmate here on.
Yeah, because if you play Rook E8, there is mate on H8. And on F7 as well, there's mate everywhere.
There's mates everywhere, F7 or H8, so it's just a bad day. And Luke, I have to say, is having a very bad tournament. The thing in these team competitions, I mean, they're pretty tough. If one player is having a bad day or a bad tournament, that really diminishes the whole team's chances. And unfortunately for Luke, who's a great player and normally does very well, he hasn't really found his form yet. And you know, it's already over halfway through the tournament, and let's hope for the last 4 rounds he can bounce back and England can still get a decent result, because it's not gone well today in this game at all for Luke.
And we had a result in Grishuk against Rajabov, and that was a draw. And let me just very quickly, while Maxime was here, there were a lot of people on the chat saying that Maxime doesn't smile and that he's extremely serious, and they were even joking about his surname, La Grave, because that means sort of serious in French. Maxime is actually a very, very funny guy. I know him very well personally, so he seemed in a rather serious mood today, but I've seen him doing interviews before when he was in maybe a lighter mood, so he's actually a very nice and very funny and smiley guy.
Yeah, he's got a very dry sense of humour, quite British in some ways, I'd actually say, and it's I mean, he is a very nice guy. I mean, he's just shown us the game, but you get him away from the chess and he's very warm-hearted as well. Okay.
Shall we go to a match we haven't looked at yet, and that is Armenia-Italy.
Okay, let's go over to that, see how...
Yeah, also Maxime, there was recently a chess movie came out in France, Le Tournoi, and Maxime actually played a small role in that movie, and another friend of ours played one of the main roles. He's actually here in Reykjavik preparing the French team, and that's Fabien Libisevsky. Yeah,
and apparently he got very good, they rate you on Internet Movie Database, and he got a very high rating, people were telling me. People really liked his acting, and the funny thing was, when they were asked about his acting, he said, well, he didn't really act, he just played himself. He literally just played himself. He was this quite funny, French, charming guy, so it was quite an easy acting role to have, actually. So, yeah, well, we'll have a quick check now of this match you mentioned. And
so the score in this match is surprisingly 1.5 to Italy. So maybe an upset in the making here.
Yeah, so Italy are leading by a point. There's quite a lot of chess films coming out now, which is really good. I mean, you've got this L'Antoni, and then you've got Torni. I'll just say Torni. Tournoi. Yeah, that's how you say it. Torni is like an owl, actually, isn't it? A tawny owl. And you've got Pawn Sacrifice coming out. This one of Bobby Fischer very soon with Toby Maguire.
It is out. It has been out for a while now.
Not out in England, unfortunately, yet. But yeah, I'll be looking forward to watching that. And it's I don't know. But I've been Toby Maguire as Bobby Fischer. Maybe people can chat about that. I don't really see it. I don't really see Toby Maguire being Bobby Fischer, but we'll wait and see. Okay, so Leveronian 2 pawns
against Vocaturo, 2 pawns up.
2 pawns up, and I think doing pretty well. I mean, well, I say pretty well. 2 pawns is generally enough to win most positions, especially in endings. And yeah, I think this is just pretty.
Do you know any things about? I know that H and F pawns are supposedly theoretically a draw. But what about H and C pawns?
The further the pawns are apart, the more likely it is to win, I think, because generally, like say, if you move this pawn over to the F file, it's a draw. If the black king can get in front of the pawns, just because the black king can then keep an eye on the F file and the H file. But here, at some point, I'd imagine the black king's just not going to be capable of keeping an eye on both pawns. And the other thing is, this rook is very nicely cutting off the black king from the H pawn, so I imagine this is going to be the main danger for black here, that the H pawn is going to run down the board. So Aronian looks like he's going to win. So
and once again, the score here on top is not quite correct. It's actually half to Armenia and 1.5 to Italy. So it looks like Levin Aronian is going to equalize the match here, and then everything's going to be down to board 3, where Khan Malkumian is playing Daniil Dvurny.
And White slightly better here again. I mean, these Armenians have shown great technique in the endgames so far. White slightly better pawn structure.
But will he win? So Malkumian probably needs to win for Armenia to win this match.
Certainly, and I don't know. I mean, it looks like it's pretty decent winning chances to me. I mean, again, a couple of important things to remember in rook endings: the activity of the rooks, and the white rook is very active. The black rook passive. If I was white here, the first thing I consider is just to come over my king and take the H pawn. I mean, I'm not sure how black can fight against that. Another potential idea as well would be even to come over and try to take the C pawn. So very, very tough defense for black here, and I expect white will actually win this in the end with good technique. Okay, so let's go to another game. So
maybe go back to board. Okay, we will go to your favorite player, one of your favorite players.
Yeah, let's do it.
Badur Jabava. So Georgia today is playing against Serbia on board 4, and they are leading 1.5 with 2 games still going.
This was a very interesting game. We saw it around this point here, where White had just played c4, and White had sacrificed a pawn to get his bishop on an awesome diagonal, but black is also very active, and after this maneuver here, black has weakened the white king somewhat. So I don't know, we'll just go through a couple more moves, and it's quite a long game, so maybe we should jump forwards a bit more. So let's jump forwards to move 38, and wow, that's a big jump. We'll go back a little bit, 'cause what happened there?
Maybe if you quickly run us through the games.
Let's do it, because otherwise it's quite confusing.
We can just
yeah, should we give that a go then? Let's use my finger click. So, well, I think it's clear to see that black is probably the one who's going to get the bigger attack here. And okay, well, that's a nice move from black, gaining the d5 pawn at some point away in. And now, well, look at this, looks like a very dangerous attack brewing around the white king here.
And we can see Jabava there on camera. First time we had him on camera, maybe. I don't
He's been on quite a lot. I mean, we saw him when he was, who was he playing? He was playing on the other side of the table. Can't remember who he was playing, but maybe Mickey Adams was it even. So, but yeah, I think. Well, I'm just wondering why Queen H5 doesn't. Okay, Queen H5, you go Rook G2. Actually, I remember Malcolm Payne, who is a very famous chess person in England, He's an organizer, raconteur, and owns a chess and bridge shop.
And an IM.
And an IM in London. Really good shop. And he's also I mean, so many things Malcolm does. I can't list them all. The London Classic.
He's the director, tournament director of the London Classic.
Yeah, and he basically made this great event possible, I think. So he's done a lot of things. But remember, Malcolm Payne once told me that the best defensive piece you can have if you're trying to defend your king is a fianchettoed rook. And here we see white fianchetto his rook. So this is your typical fianchetto rook here. And that's a great defensive piece. So if you never fianchetto your rook, it keeps your king incredibly safe.
Yeah.
Okay, so on with the moves. Keep forgetting about this little key here. Quite handy. So still very murky position this. Okay, black is now coming in for the attack. Look at that B pawn go. So very, very murky. Oh, look at that. So that's a move and a half. He sacrificed the exchange. So he sacked the exchange, and the idea here is to try to get the knight in to e3, but you can't do it immediately because of d6 check. But now another lice move, because it looked like the knight was on pre, but black simply takes on b7 with the idea of the rook coming down to give checkmate on the back rank. White tries to make some space for his king, and now an attack starts. This is fun. So rook c1, c3, and let's see, I think we've got some more moves. So very nice attack, and okay, well white pretty much forced now to give up his rook, because if you play something like queen c2, then this very nice move, knight to e3, and in this position, that's not a very good defensive piece. So he has to give up his rook, and now a king hunt starts. So f takes g3 and king e3. So
and Badr has played already.
Okay, but
I missed his move.
Is he going to run out of checks here? Let's see. So king e3, and I mean he's now 2 pawns up, so that might actually make some difference. But I think he should be right here. What move has he played? I think he moved his king up. It looks like he's gone something like king e7 now to avoid any potential draw. And after queen b7 check, king f6. This looks like the current position we have. And I think now with the queen coming to e6 check, he should be winning this one. Definitely. He's 2 pawns up. White king's still more exposed, and the 2 pawns are very strong. So it's a win. This is a win for black. So another good game.
Let's very quickly check out the third board in this match, which is Marcus against Pansulaya.
And is this
once again?
I'm so good with computers. Look at that lovely.
Go to view.
Okay.
Annotation.
Okay, there we go.
There we go.
Better. So what's happening in this one? Then this could decide the match, could it? I guess.
Well, if Jabava wins, that will be the match decided already.
Yeah. Oh, if Jabava, okay, right. So we can see the score. So the match is going to go Georgia's way. So definitely. And
so let's see the Georgian player with the black pieces, Levan Pansulaya. What's happening here?
Well, I mean, both kings in danger, but it looks to me like the white king might be in more danger, unless you can get your bishop to g3. Very murky position, very, very complex position actually. Maybe the black king is in some trouble now, with white taking on e6. So the top board, actually I'll go for white here. The more I look at this, the more I like white's position. Now, is there a little tactic here though? Okay, no, there's not. That's absolute rubbish.
What did you want to play?
It's quite embarrassing actually. So I
didn't. Surely not as embarrassing as queen take.
I didn't take my own piece, so I didn't quite go that far. That was my highlight of the day actually. I think taking your own piece was brilliant. I love that.
Especially with a deep idea behind it.
Yeah,
to win it back.
I know. I bet you're taking
win back my own.
But the funny thing was, you were taking your own pieces 4 moves in a row, pretty much, because you're going a knight check against your own king. It was brilliant. It was inspired.
Yeah, so if you missed it earlier, I was trying to take a white pawn with a white queen, which is not a legal move in check.
It'd be quite fun if it was, though, wouldn't it? So yeah. Okay, so we take here complex position. I prefer white, I think, because it looks like white's king's in more danger here. So let's go to Carlsen, shall we? See how he's getting on now. Back to Carlsen, and well, I mean, he's going to have to pull a rabbit out of the hat in order to save this game.
Maybe we could also update the board 4 there at some point in that match.
And I think we should go back to the women's section as well, because we haven't looked at them for a while.
So that's Norway against Switzerland. Should be down.
Down, down, down.
So there they are. Down, down, down. Yep.
There we go. Right. My eyes are starting to go. Okay, so, okay. Magnus desperately trying to get rid of Black's 2 remaining pawns, because if he can get rid of the E pawn and the F pawn,
do you think if we got to an endgame rook and knight against rook, Yannick would try at all, would just immediately agree to a draw?
Was a famous example of that was Bobby Fischer was playing another Grandmaster, and Bobby Fischer had the rook and knight versus his opponent's rook, and his opponent offered Bobby Fischer the draw, and Bobby Fischer, I think his response apparently, I don't know if it's true, but apparently it was something like, why would I take a draw when I'm better? I mean, it's just pointless. You're a whole piece up. I mean, you might as well try to play on. I mean, even if you're playing Carlsen and 99.9% of the time this would be a draw. Well, 100% really, but you might, you know, there's no danger to lose, so you might as well play on. Even if you lose the rook, you're still drawing. So yeah, just play on, and why not, you know?
Let me just interrupt you for a second, because Nepomniachtchi drew his game against Arkady Neidich, which means we had a 2-2 draw in today's top encounter between Russia and Azerbaijan.
Okay, that's an important match, and that keeps Russia's lead over the field. So the favourites, Russia, could be their year this time, and they haven't had such a great events in these tournaments recently. They haven't won one of these, and they've always been like favourites or thereabouts. So it's kind of maybe their due date to win a competition, and you'd have to put your money on Russia at the moment.
And there you see the players discussing the game. What do you think? We had 4 draws, but do you think it was how would you evaluate the fighting level of this match?
Well, I mean, the bottom board was just poor, because that was just White just went for a draw from the start. That was quite poor. Pretty sure, you know, that last game we saw was a hard-fought fight.
We had a very interesting, a rather short draw on board 1, but very interesting, between Svidla and Mamedyarov. Unless it was all theory, which we don't know.
I'm kind of assuming that might have all been theory, and it just might have been a draw. So even though it's interesting, it might not have been that that fun. You know, I don't know. I mean, it was a bit wet. Bit wet. Is that a fair word to use? We always use the word wet in England, which means like, you know, like a bit pathetic. I think is a harsh word, but wet is a little bit nicer. So,
and meanwhile, we have some scores coming in from the women's section. The Russian ladies have gone on to win yet another game as they beat France 3-1. So maybe in a second we can go and see how that happened.
Yeah, we still haven't looked at Magnus's game, so.
And it's very likely that Ukraine is also going to beat Romania 3-1.
Okay, so we'll come to those soon, but let's just get to the bottom of Magnus, because and
can I just finish?
Yeah.
Sorry, Simon.
It's all right.
The third board of the women's section is also over, so let's just quickly mention that. And Georgia won 2.5, 1.5 there. So yeah, just one more game going on the top 3 matches of the women's section. Okay, good stuff. So now you can talk us through Magnus. I'll try to use my famous endgame skills as well, that I'm world famous for. His rating has been obliterated here, isn't it? Yeah. So unfortunately, I asked you a question earlier, and instead of just giving me a yes or no answer, you told me this whole story. So do you think if Yannick gets rook and knight against rook, do you think he's gonna try? Yes. Yes. There you go. Short and sweet answer there. Yes. I was on the defending side of this endgame someday, and I'd never looked at it, and I was playing someone reasonably strong, but I held it quite easily. So it's very easy to defend. I think it's quite an easy. Oh, and we see resignation. Wow! Look at that! Big scenes here. It was quite interesting because it looked like he just checked out board 4. Well, he's laughing about it a bit, you know, so I mean, at least he can still smile. Or you're going to cry. Well, that's a good point, yeah, laugh or cry. So are you going to go and ask him about his girlfriend now, quickly? You can go and run down and get him while he's I think Peter is off to do that. Okay, maybe Peter's going to. I don't think we can see Magnus in the commentary room today. Unfortunately, we're still waiting for Magnus to win a game so we can try to get him in the commentary room, because we can't ask him to come in the commentary room after he loses a game. That's just too harsh to do that. Well, but now that case, let's go to board 4 because I think it was quite interesting. I think Magnus checked how Urkedal was doing on board 4 before resigning. So I assume Urkedal is either drawing or winning.
Yeah, I mean, this position, just to say, it's an easy win now. If anyone's wondering why Magnus resigned so soon, it's because after this good move, knight e4, you're going to guard both your pawns easily by putting your knight on c5, and the h pawn will drop, and the a pawn will drop, and then you're going to be everything up. So, sorry, Fiona, which game did you want to go to?
So the board 4 of this match, and that is Urkedal against Richard Forster.
So if Norway get any results in this game, then they win the match. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Okay, so Magnus is the only person to lose in this match. And look, it was still good to see Magnus there, like having a little smile.
Yeah.
He's the world champion. You would not see Kasparov, the previous world champion, well, I'd say great world champion Kasparov, ever smiling and looking at the game after he lost, after he would lose the game. So I think this shows,
blundering a piece,
especially.
Yeah.
I mean, he's showing some very nice characteristics, I think, from actually just sitting at the board. I mean, a lot of people just want to run away there. So, yeah. Okay. So, rook c4, and who's pushing here? White is pushing, I guess. Is that right? What's going on with his left hand? No, his right. No, his left hand. Yeah. Secret signals behind his back. Yeah. So, yeah.
It looks like it's not part of his body any longer.
Looks like he's grown an extension. So, yeah. Cool. It does. It looks a bit. Maybe he does yoga. You can't. I can't do that. Let's try to do that. Can you do that? I can't get my arm around my back like that without looking like a right weirdo. Just give it a go, Fiona. I can't do it.
Oh yeah, and it's funny because I was lucky enough to interview Magnus at Reykjavik Open this year, and he was already hiding his left arm, and I even asked him about it, and he was in a very good mood. Again, luckily for me that day, and I asked him. People in the chat were wondering about his left arm, and he just waved at the camera. So yeah.
Yeah, good.
Something weird about his left arm.
Well, I think
so yeah, do you think Urkedal is going to hold here?
I don't know. It looks very tough to me. I mean, because the idea I think Black's trying to do is put his king on maybe c6 and go b6 at some stage to try to break these strong pawns up. Because of course, if the white king can get in, then maybe he will hold this. Yeah, because the black king's very close to the pawns, and it can quickly come to c6. So I think he should be. He should be safe enough here in holding this one. So yeah, I predict a win for Norway, and this match is probably going to be a draw in the end. So important game though. Yeah. Okay.
Very tough tournament for Magnus. Also now a tough situation. I think it's a good thing for Magnus that a rest day is coming up. But you know, it's very tough because Norway is probably going to win this match. Magnus is probably sick and tired of playing here at the European teams, but his team really need him.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's going to be interesting to see if he's playing in 2 days, but my bet is he will play.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I think he's going to want to win a game before he goes home. Yeah. He doesn't want to. He doesn't stay here and not keep playing without winning a game. That would just.
Do you think Magnus has ever played a tournament where he hasn't won a game?
Good question. I think when he wasn't world champion, maybe, but when he's been
like going 9 rounds without winning a single game.
Yeah, that's. Yeah, I don't know actually. It's a good question. Well, I played in the same tournament as him once, and all play all, and I think he started with 4 losses in that tournament. Wow. So, but he was about 3 years old then, so it's a little bit different, you know. So, yeah. So I don't know. I mean, he's got to win one game. Yeah. He's just got to. I mean, it'd just be amazing if he plays there. So I think he'd want to play, to be honest. Okay, so, well...
And I think we have another guest, and I'll let you do the honors this time.
Okay, brilliant.
So I'm gonna go get a short break, and we will be back with Simon and Grandmaster Yannick Peltier very shortly, so stay tuned.
very privileged to have Yannick join us today, and well, very nice day for you today, Yannick, beating the world champion with the black pieces. How does it feel, first of all?
Yeah, well, I was under pressure the whole game, so when he blundered, I felt relieved, and somehow against him you never really believe that you're going to make it, and try double checking all lines to make sure that you're going to win.
Yeah.
Well, of course it feels well, but of course I was very lucky today.
Yeah, sure. And I mean, still beating the world champion, still quite a special day, but I mean, we were kind of thinking it was quite a big blunder, to be fair.
Yeah, it was a big blunder. I was under pressure really most of the game. Yeah. I think I had a good chance to equalize after the opening, I think.
So let's go through the game now. And
I went for my favorite hedgehog.
Okay. And of course you do a lot of commentary as well. You do playing, commentary, teaching as well? Or
a little, yeah.
A little, okay. So.
But well, now I'm a full-time father, so that's the main and the most enjoyable occupation.
Right, good stuff. And recently?
Yeah, quite recently. Yeah.
Oh, congratulations. So, okay, so whereabouts did?
So yeah, this must have been all played before the idea was yeah.
Okay.
And here, rook d8 I think is inaccurate. I should play b5 at once.
Okay, which is a typical break. In
well, his idea with bishop a3 was to take once. No, I take once on b5 and play bishop b4 and try and get the grip on the position. But here I have d5. I calculated this, and well, he takes. Well, my idea is just to get rid of the knight c3 somehow, to attack a2. So if he takes on e7, I take. And what I missed, which he told me after the game, if he takes on d5, well, I wanted to take with the knight, but this is probably slightly worse. But I have b4 here.
I have b4 first.
With the point, of course, d6, queen b7 check.
Ah, okay,
so,
of course. And this is.
And then if I get my knight on d5.
It's another way you could blunder his knight there. So you know.
Sure. So if he moves the knight, I take with the knight on d5, and then I'm on top.
It's absolutely fine. So
yeah, with the knight, huge beast there on d5.
Yeah. So actually, this is very pleasant position for you, I guess.
So he should not take on d5, should play e5, but then I get knight e4, and I get rid of the knight.
Okay.
Eventually. So I mean, after the swap on b4. Anyway, this was. I thought I could wait and get this later, but he prevented all this after rook f d8, queen d3.
Yeah.
And now I'm struggling to get b5, and I don't want to play rook b8, of course, because the rook belongs on an open file. And knight e8, knight c7 didn't really work. So so I played rook d7, trying to make d5 work again. Yeah. So I wasn't sure if he was going to play queen e2 or queen f3, but queen f3 threatens e5, sorry, e5, in a way, threatens to get a good ending. So I played bishop f8, it's prophylactic. And rook d4 is good. Well, now I thought for a really long time, I didn't really want to go for the position we had in the game, but if I play b5, he takes, and bishop b4 again.
Okay.
And then I won't really get what I want, because after d5 he plays e5.
Right.
And now I get rid of the knight, but under quite bad.
Yeah, bad.
We should actually lose a pawn here.
And after bishop b4, is this plan to go a4 at some stage? Is this what you think he might try? Is that the right plan, or is it will he sit here for a bit?
I think, well, he can play rook d. Well, I was considering rook c7 or stuff like this, but somehow, he's going to play rook d1, and at some point I'm going to lose a pawn probably.
Okay, so
and the only question is how much I'm going to have as compensation. But probably, if he does, I was trusting him that he would not really give me much.
Play.
So I went for d5, and then we had this forced
line. So at least you're trying to simplify things, I guess, in this way, which might bring about an easier position to work out. So
I wasn't sure about rook d1. I'm not sure what he really didn't like here after rook d1.
After rook d1, okay, very logical.
He thought, well, what he did, I didn't really expect it, but it's unpleasant actually, and it's typical of his style. I mean, he's getting pressure in the ending, and I already lost so many. Well, not so many, but a few games against him in this style. So I was seeing you know, the same scenario.
I think most people who've played him lost games in the ending, haven't they, against him? So, so you mentioned before, how many times have you now played Magnus Carlsen?
Well, it's the first time I don't play him in Biel, but I played him 9 times in Biel.
Okay.
And well, in 2005 were the first 2 games when he was 15, and I won a game there. And in 2007 he was already 2700. I won another game, but he won 5. So of course he's
got the edge on you then. So yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Okay. So
not surprisingly,
he's a very good player, isn't he? Still, but I mean, do you think there's any reason why he's had this bit of a slump? And do you think he has had this slump really recently? I mean, and I mean, in some of his recent results, do you think this is kind of normal for most players to have this, or do you think he's going to?
Well, he's not a normal player, so it, you know. But even you know, it shows he's human. I mean, of course, he's a genius and everything, but he has moments of weakness, and well, we saw it in London 2013, but that was very specific moment. But well, since, as you said, since maybe. Yeah, the beginning of the year, or maybe a bit later. Yeah, he won but yeah, he's having a bad period, and I have no idea why, but it may happen. But of course, he's going to be. You know, sometimes might be some loss of motivation when he's reached everything and already at such a young age. And
yeah, it's true. It's
so I don't know. Anyway,
because I think a lot of grandmasters, they say once you get to the grandmaster title, what do you do next? Because you know, normally when you're chasing your grandmaster norms and things, it's okay, but it's sort of...
Well, in a way, it's always possible to improve, but for him, I mean, where can he go? 2900 or something, yeah, you know.
Yeah, it's very hard for him.
Anyway, he went he went c5 here. Well, with d1, I wasn't sure what's going to come.
So this is still
yeah,
okay.
This is unpleasant. I thought I had to keep knights. If I exchange, I cannot play king e7. I had first thought, if I play king e7, he plays knight b7. This is an unbelievable move. He's getting rook c7. I can't prevent anything.
Okay.
My king is stuck. My knight will be pinned. And
this is strange. So
just I don't move,
So something like rook b8
and rook c7 and just walk in with a king.
And this king just comes
and pawns in. I didn't see what to do.
You can't move anything, yeah?
I can't really move anything.
So bad, so
and at worst, he's going to exchange knights with knight c5, and then I'm going to get anyway.
Losing ending.
But this is the worst.
Yeah, sure. Oh, okay. So you have to... And if I guess this is... We were wondering if this is... Maybe playable somehow, but I don't know. I don't know how. But
well, if I move my rook, he's going to play rook c6. And if I stay passive, then I am passive, and rook activity is the main factor in rook endings. So
and if a5 is that playable at all?
Yeah, I wasn't sure about a4. Rook b8, rook b5. I'm not sure. This pawn ending might be lost. Simply might be lost. I'm not sure.
Sure. Yeah. It's very tough anyway to hold this, because like you say, the rook is so active.
So I thought I'm going to try and get my knight to d5, and at least I have a good one good piece at least.
And now, okay, we'll just go forward some moves, and we eventually see him getting this.
Yeah, I defended pretty tenaciously around here. I was very short in time and was moving pretty fast, and I think I defended pretty well.
Good, yeah. F6 looks like a good move.
Yeah, because I played knight b4, knight e5, I think I won before.
Yeah,
so f6 is good.
Yeah.
Yeah, as I said, he was pretty happy after a4 he thought he was going to win, but he hadn't seen knight e7, he said.
Okay.
Which is some way to, give checks and try to...
Sure, so you got c6.
Well, I wasn't very optimistic, I have to say, but...
Right. But you kept fighting?
Yeah.
So king c6, stopping a rook coming in, and now this b4 move. So getting the outside pass pawn. So,
but at least my rook starts to be at least active. Finally, at least it can hit on the a pawn.
Yeah, sure.
So I wasn't, and a5, my weakness is also disappeared. So takes.
So, and now knight d4. So he probes over here with rook a5.
Yeah, maybe it was not necessary probably, but okay.
Okay. And then, I mean, if we...
Yeah, king b6 was probably... My first idea was to go to d6, and I thought, I play king b6, knight c6, and I defend pretty well.
Yeah.
But what I should try to do is knight c6, and then e5, and that's why my king has to be on d6, and then if I get some counterplay here, then I have good chances to hold.
Yeah,
it should be a draw, but
get your own pass pawn with the e5 is the idea, because this is kind of decisions, isn't it, in chess, which is really hard to know which way you put your king. So especially if you're short on time as
3
well.
minutes, something.
So I mean, it kind of feels natural to put it near your opponent's pass pawn, but then the other way of getting past e pawn also seems quite good. So okay, so king b6, and now
rook c4 is pretty good.
Yeah, he pushes your.
And now I think I should go to a5.
Okay, with the rook.
With the rook. Sorry, with the rook. Yeah, sorry. And then e5 again.
E5 again, right? I see.
And I prevent knight c5 and.
Yeah, and you stop this one. Yeah, okay. This is maybe.
Let's say rook e4, e5, and then I thought this should be, but I missed his answer. I thought I would become active with my rook on the d file, but he just leaves the knight on d3 and.
In this position, yeah.
And rook e4, rook d6, and now I have to defend again.
Okay, yeah.
Well, I always have to defend, but anyway.
Yeah.
Rook e2, yeah.
And now he.
Yeah, because he wants to play rook b2, knight c5. Or something.
Right, get his knight to better square as well. And okay. So, but then very soon we see this.
King c7, yeah.
Unbelievable. I mean, king c7 is a good move.
It's a good move because you know, if he has to choose with the rook where to go. Whether to go back to b5, but then he lacks a bit of mobility, or to try to go. So
what went through your when he played rook g8? I'm assuming you saw pretty quickly this.
My first question was what did I miss, because
it's the world champion and he's just blundered a piece. So yeah. And then when you worked out you hadn't missed anything, which did it actually dawn on you, or did you actually still think I'm missing something?
No, okay, I checked and I saw he missed it, and as soon as I played 97, he obviously.
Wow.
Wow.
And do you think you only saw it at this moment, or before we didn't have it on the video?
I have a feeling he saw it just after I played. I mean, he saw the problem here.
Wow. Okay. So it's a nice feeling then.
So yeah. But still, I mean, he's getting 2 pawns, so I was.
Sure. Yeah. It's not 100% clear to win.
Because here, if I play knight d5, I wasn't sure about this. I wasn't sure.
In this position.
In this position.
Okay.
D5. Right. I wasn't sure. He takes king c5.
Yeah.
And well, it was a bit too. You know, he's gonna use his a pawn as a decoy.
Yeah,
my king, and then he can try to eliminate everything. But maybe there is a win here, I don't know.
Yeah.
I was trying to figure out whether knight e3, knight f1 was going to, maybe it does. But
complex though. And
I thought I'll get some, all my pieces will be active soon, so I thought I'll give this h pawn.
Yeah. And then of course when you get your pieces start.
I think rook c7 is accurate.
Now when your knight comes in as well, you're starting to coordinate, I feel here, so And okay, and around here I think it was coming pretty clear that it should be winning now, quite you know.
Yeah, because my rook protects d6, so my king is free.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't have to protect. Right?
Sure.
Well, he tried it. Yeah,
he tried to push, make some chaos, I guess, and then this gambit of a pawn. But he's in a very tough situation anyway. Yeah. So if he had just stayed here, what be your winning plan? I guess just to kind of take his pawn.
Try and collect the pawn. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I was considering rook b8, knight b4.
So knight b4, yeah.
And then king c4. Try to
get this in somehow.
Create some threats, and if if he gives a check, then I have king b5.
Yeah.
So I can
maybe have knight c6 to round up the pawn as well, like this. Some point.
Eventually, I'm gonna get.
You're gonna win this pawn. So yeah.
Well, I thought maybe before playing rook h8, maybe leaving the rook on h6 and try at some point to play g4 and f5.
Okay.
Not here, but trying it to swap all pawns. But I don't think it should work. So
no. Okay, and in the game finished. So you just play this.
Knight f6 is quite important.
It's a good move, and this is to just stop his pawn from moving and.
And he doesn't have rook e8 to take my pawn.
Yeah.
So he tried to take it anyway with a6 and rook d6.
Sure, but then you played this.
Now I'll probably win with rook h6. King takes a6, rook d6, king b7 takes. So this was probably winning too.
And
takes on h6, and if he plays rook e5, I have rook h5.
Yeah.
And then knight g4 and king is coming, so I thought.
Yeah. she should be winning as well. But your move seems very accurate as well, because you could always put the knight on c5 to guard the e-pawn, I guess, and just get his last couple of pawns. Fiona was actually wondering if it did get down to rook and knight versus rook, would you have played on, or would you offer a draw? You would offer a draw straight away. Okay. So
especially after being so lucky.
Yeah. Okay. And you have faith in the world champions endgame technique, which everyone does. So.
Well, yeah, one is always better at with the technique. One is always better when one has to win. When he's in the driving seat. When defending is always more difficult.
Tough to do
for everyone.
Yeah, well, you did a very good defensive job there, to be fair, because I mean it was looking quite tough, and you always kept in the game, and that's what you got to do when you're defending.
Yeah.
So you just have to stick in there and defend, and hope for the best. So yeah,
playing so many BL tournaments against such tough players during almost 10 years, you get tough, and you learn how to defend this really bad positions, and sometimes it works.
And it's really a good skill as well to learn how to defend. It's something I can't really do, I'll be honest. I struggle to do.
Well, I know your style, you push everything forward. But that's easier.
Push everything
you beat Gelfand in great style and so on, so it's not so bad either.
Sometimes it works, but again, I mean, you've now actually just beaten the world #1 and 2, because famously, only like a couple of weeks ago, you uncorked this very interesting novelty, which you apparently saved up for a long time against Nakamura, and you've beaten Nakamura #2, and you've beaten Carlsen #1. Things are looking pretty good. So, so is having a baby, this is the way to...
Well, usually you lose 50 points when you have a baby. But I decided to invest my points before, so I lost my points all before last 2 years or something, and then now maybe...
and then you have a baby, then it works, then you get the points back.
But in both cases, I mean, it was just, circumstances. I got my novelty against Nakamura, and today I was very lucky. I mean, so it's
yeah, but you still have to take your chances, I guess.
Of course, I'm not complaining, of course, but it's...
And then we have this tweet here, so I'm too young to have any memories of Victor Korchnoi playing, but he feels a bit nostalgic every time I see Swiss team in action, so there you go. So, and, well, that's great. And, of course, you in Switzerland, you've been playing for Switzerland for a long time now, haven't you? So, and do you know how Korchnoi's doing? Does he still play at all? Or
no. He's
too old now.
Pretty weak. I mean, weak physically.
Yeah, sure. Unfortunately,
it's not so easy. But he's been playing some friendly games with some friends in Zurich. But he's blitz and so. But I mean, keeping the distance of a long game for him is too tough.
It's very tough. So
keeping concentration after 2 strokes. It's not easy, and he's 84, and it's it's not easy.
Tough. All right. Well, thank you very much for joining us. It's been a great honour. Congratulations again, and good luck with the rest of the games. So, thank you. Okay.
Welcome to chess.com. Chess.com is social. Now you can play chess with your friends whenever you want, whether that's middle of the day or middle of the night. You can get instantly matched up with one of over 5 million other members from around the world. You play live games in real time, turn-based games at your convenience, or tournaments with anyone at any time. Chess.com is mobile. You can play online from your computer, or you can play on the go from your tablet or your smartphone. No matter where you go, whether you're at work, grabbing a bite to eat, or just enjoying some time at the park, your games are there with you, and keeping multiple chess games going has never been easier. Chess.com is for learning. Don't just play chess, get better. The best chess training resources have never been more accessible. Learn essential chess strategy quickly and easily with the extremely popular Tactics Trainer tool. Improve your game in ways you didn't know were possible with training videos by chess masters. And regardless of where you're at now, take your game to the next level with multiple simple-to-use training tools. Chess.com is for everyone. Over 250 million chess games have been played on Chess.com. And it doesn't matter if you're a beginner or a grandmaster. Chess.com is the place to play and learn chess. So create your free account now and see what Chess.com is for you.
And welcome back for a last time live here from Reykjavik at the European Team Championship. So we just had Yannick there, a very nice person, and a strong player, obviously.
I mean, great commentator, strong player, and he's just had a kid. So
and tournament director, and dad,
and he does a lot of things, and he does them well. So yeah. And also, like you say, beat number 1 and 2 in the world in the space of a month is quite amazing. So yeah, congratulations to him. But really, I mean, Magnus kind of gave him the point as well in that one. But okay, well, what we're going to do now in this last segment, we're going to have a look at the Hungary versus Ukraine key match, and then we're going to take a look at 2 very nice games. Then we'll wrap things up for the day with the results and the standings.
So there's only 2 games left in the Hungary against Ukraine match, because the first board between Leko and Ivanchuk, there's only 1 game left, and we had another result. So on the first board, Leko beat drew Ivanchuk, sorry. So first board, a draw between Leko and Ivanchuk. On board 2, Elyanov, who's having a great tournament, beat Richard Rapport. And there was a draw between Almashi and Krivorushka. So the last game to be in progress, and we're going to go there now, is Anton Korobov against Berkash.
And this was this weird game where they had the material imbalance, and now this is such a key game because Black needs to win in order to level the match, and Black has some very good chances of winning here. So I mean, at the moment, this actually, if we remember, was the 3 pieces versus the queen. We just jumped back some position like this, and it has proven, I guess, from the play that the 3 pieces were better than the queen when they got coordinated, and now Black has material up, and it just depends whether he can queen one of his pawns. If he can queen one of his pawns eventually, then he'll win the match. His king's very safe. I mean, I don't know if it's so easy to win this. I mean, it's again, when your opponent's got a queen, there's so many checks you're going to have to watch out for, but it must be decent chances.
I mean,
here.
Black is pushing. The time situation, they still have a certain amount of time. Black still has 17 minutes, white 20. So I think this is going to go on for a very long time.
I think so, yeah. I mean, Black, just because Black has to win, you're going to play, and play on forever. So, yeah, so we won't stay with this game, but good chances there for Hungary to win, to equalise this match. And now we have 2 nice games to show you. So the first one is from the Faroe Islands versus Kosovo. So we'll just bring that game up now.
So Nielsen, I don't know which Nielsen, because they have 2 brothers on the team. They're from the Faroe Islands. So it's Rokfia. I've been friends with these Faroese guys for a long time. So they've been trying to. I've been trying to teach you how to pronounce names, but they've been trying to teach me how to pronounce their names. Not so easy.
No, and Faroe Islands quite close to Iceland.
I had some good news for you, by the way. Scotland drew their match today, so they got their first match point.
The Bravehearts, they did it in the end. That's great stuff. So who were they playing today?
They were playing Belgium.
Belgium, okay, that's a great result for Scotland because they were struggling. They got their first point on the board yesterday, game points, and today they got match points. So, well done, Scotland. Well done, Scotland. Can you do your Scottish? I want to hear a Scottish.
Oh, no, I can't.
No, you can't, okay.
Late in the day. Yeah, I mean, even if it was early, I don't think I could.
Definitely. So let's go through this game. This does look like a nice game. Another C3 Sicilian. And we will now try to... Oh, that's an interesting idea. What on earth is that? I've never seen this idea before. Well, actually, I think the main move here is knight to c6, if I recall correctly. So maybe bishop d7 is a mistake. This e6 move, that's a real funky move. Really funky move. Yeah. And, well, the point is there's a queen h5 coming in. So, no idea. I guess if you take with a pawn here, you can try bishop d3.
Yeah, it just looks very dangerous.
Very dangerous. So we had this.
There is a lot of openings where this e6 is a typical idea, even if you give up the pawn, just to weaken the black king.
So bishop d7 probably like a problem, I would have thought. And now the queen comes in, and okay, there was a mate threatened, so black tries to get out of that, but now the king is still in the danger zone. So let's see how white finished this game off. Eventually, some nice moves, bring the pieces in, safety castles, kicking that knight away, and black has done some funny manoeuvring because black's taken like 3 or 4 moves to help white develop, which seems a bit odd with that knight.
Yep.
But the problem is the black king's always slightly weak and the black pawns are targets. So now the rook comes around to join in the attack, hitting e6. Knight comes in, they're all coming in. Here they come. Big threat of knight to f6 here. That is a ginormous threat.
I've had a game recently as black where I lost without having moved the f8 bishop and the h8 rook, and I felt very stupid at the end of that game. It's never. I always think, you tell beginners just, you're supposed to develop your pieces before the game actually starts. Yeah. So that's never a great sign if by move 24 you haven't moved either of those pieces yet.
No. I wonder what the sort of for Grandmaster games, what the sort of, if with one side winning in a Grandmaster game, what the least amount of pieces that someone has developed has been. I don't know. Is it like maybe 4 or 5? It'd be nice if someone could find that out. Quite interesting sort of thing. So yeah, and I'd like to say there is a rest day tomorrow for anyone watching. We'll be back the day after. So there's a pub quiz today, a chess pub quiz, which is going to be very exciting, I think. Looking forward to that. And maybe some general chaos afterwards. I expect so.
Hopefully not.
Hopefully not, did you say? Hopefully. So yeah, depends what the chaos is, but shall we say? Okay, so look at all the white pieces coming in now, and well, okay, a nice finishing move here, knight to f6, and that is what we call a big fork. Yep. That's not a little fork, that is a family of 5 fork. So a massive fork, a big one. Okay, there we go, nice game. Icelandic legend.
Maybe, if black moves the queen to, let's say, a5 or something. Oh, better yet.
a5? Oh, yeah, a5, yeah. Oh, you could think, oh, yeah, queen and g6.
Yeah, that was my point.
Oh,
and
queen g6.
Counterpoint.
And then, whoa, a back spanker. So, there we go. And that is a nasty,
that would be a nasty surprise.
Oh, that would be the nasty surprise of the century, that one. So, yes, definitely.
But all white needs to do is play a little move like
maybe b4, knight c3, anything at all. Not queen g6.
Just not queen g6.
Just don't do queen g6. Yeah, don't get too excited. When I'm teaching kids, you teach them and they see something. They don't look at their opponent's ideas. And you see them literally shaking, and they're like, "Ooh!" And they go like they move the queen, and it's like checkmate. And they're like, "Oh."
Also, just maybe to point out that after knight f6, obviously you can take the knight. Because of the mate on h7.
That's a nice little mate, isn't it? Quite a pretty mate there on h7, so good stuff. So now we just Icelandic Legends did win today against Austria, so that's a really good result for them. And now the last game we're probably going to look at today, another game which is apparently very nice.
That's the match Finland against Lithuania.
I'm glad you pronounced
Karttunen.
that. I did not want to pronounce that one. So, and we'll go through this very quickly. So, black outrating white, and let's see what happens. Well, knight c6 is a slightly rare move, I think, in this Nimzo-Indian line. But Tony Miles actually used to play a similar idea with just d5 coming in, e5 coming in and played a position like this. So, Tony Miles, England's first ever Grandmaster, fortunately passed away far too young, but he was a great player. Famously beat Karpov by playing 1a6, I think it was, or 1a3. God, I really should know this. a6. Yeah. So against Karpov with black on move 1, he played a6. Unbelievable that he managed to beat the world champion in that. Okay, so we'll go through the results. I see that our super commentator from earlier has now come back in the room, so here she is, a future star. So, okay, so let's see where this gets exciting, because it's all a bit positional for my liking at the moment. We don't want positional stuff, do we? Not at this time of day. H4!
There we go, Harry!
Yeah, the Harry attack. Oh, that's a move I'd enjoy playing. I'd be like, yeah, get in there, Harry. Get in there, Harry. And now look at this maniac, rook h3. This is Viking chess. And now black just takes the piece, spoil sport, and blocks the file. So now Gary comes. White deserved to win this game. Why did we look at this game? So I think black ends up winning. That's not fair. So queen takes g5, and now f3. So if this knight moves, it's going to be in serious danger of getting checkmated with rook h1 and a big bang on h8. So f5 played, and now white does not take this knight because of queen g2 check. Rook g1, and now black goes knight d7, queen c1 guarding the rook, so eventually the knight's on pre.
Maybe our producer Leonard just suggested for us to look at this game to, you know, like stop your enthusiasm for the H and G pawns, just like to show you Simon.
I know, it doesn't always win.
Shoving the G and H pawns up the pawn.
I think he's trying to give me a secret lesson, basically, isn't he? You know, by showing me that the H pawn shove does not always work. You know, sometimes it can shove itself back on you. So thanks for this game, Leonard. So yeah, so let's see how the game finished. So. Okay, well, white is attacking a bit here, and now this is a nice move because otherwise the position could fall apart for black with rook takes g6 coming in. Looks like a very dangerous attack, but now black sacks the queen and comes in with a knight f4 check, so black gets, well, I say sacks the queen, actually gets 2 rooks and a piece for the queen. So it's not really a sack of a queen, and a nice game. So a lesson to be learnt there, Simon. Pushing the h-pawn does not always win, just in 99% of cases. So, and that was the 1% there. So good stuff. So should we take a look at the day's results?
Let's take a look at the results. We'll start with the open section. On the top board, we looked at this a lot today. We had 4 draws between Russia and Azerbaijan, so a 2-2 draw there. Then in the second board match between Hungary and Ukraine, Ukraine is currently leading 2-1, and Berkesh is pressing in the last game, but whether it will be enough, we'll let you know in 2 days after our rest day. Then on board 3, we had Maxim Vachilagrov with us in the show earlier. Very nice win, 3-1 for France there. And on board 4, a very nice win by Badur Jobava, and we missed the opportunity of getting him into the studio yet again.
Every day we get all these other people in. I really want to get Jobava in at some point, and we will do. I'll try to catch up with him and have a word with him. And
then on board 5, Germany. Not good news for you, Simon.
Very bad news.
Your countrymen losing to Germany. Quite a big upset there, actually.
Yeah, well, that's very upsetting. Again, England, to be honest, not performing as well as they would have hoped, let's say. So very disappointing again.
And on board 6, finally, Armenia, Italy is currently a draw. As predicted, Aronian won his rook ending 2 pawns up, and Melkumian is pressing for the win to take this home for the Armenians.
That's right. So maybe now we can have a look at the ladies section, and then I think it's time to get nearer the rest day, which we're looking forward to.
In case you missed it earlier, we're going on. Board 7, Netherlands against Slovenia is currently drawn 1.5, 1.5. And it seems like Anish Giri has a small edge against Beliavsky there on top board, so that will probably go on for a little while. Then Latvia beat Croatia, Poland beat Turkey, Norway is most likely going to beat Switzerland, although again we had a massive upset on board 1, world champion Magnus Carlsen losing with the white pieces. Again, we had Yannick Pelletier in the studio, so if you want to see that, you can just rewind to that. And then we had another 4 draws draw between Czech Republic and Romania, and another draw between Montenegro and Moldova.
Good, and maybe now we can have a look at the ladies section. Or do we have more men coming in? Let's see.
So here we are. The Russian ladies continue their very impressive performance at this tournament. They win their 5th match in a row, beating France 3-1. Then on board to Ukraine beating Romania 3-1. So these two are probably going to face after the rest day, Ukraine.
It'll be a big
and
match.
Russia,
Big match there on the cards, so yeah. And so that could be the deciding match actually, Russia versus Ukraine. Germany now doing okay, they're catching up a little bit, they're a good team.
On board 3 we had a big clash. Georgia won that match 2.5, 1.5. Then, as you said, Germany beating Netherlands 2.5, 1.5. So they will maybe be on the live boards, and we will finally get to discuss Elizabeth Pate's new hairdo.
Definitely, that would be cool. Looking forward to that. So it'd be nice. I mean, we haven't had one female in the room yet, and that's well, okay, apart from Fiona, you kind of count, but you know, should we say a female who's playing in the tournament? So, but it'd be lovely to get someone in. You know, anyone would be good. So, okay, and
then on board 5, that's a small upset there, quite a big upset actually, I believe. Serbia probably going to beat Armenia 3-1, and the Hungarian ladies leading and probably winning against Spain.
Yes, and that's it really. So it's been a great day of chess. Just like to remind everyone that tomorrow we are over the halfway point now. There's only 4 games to go. Tomorrow is a rest day, but we will be back the day after that, whichever day it is. I don't even know what day it is today.
Peter Notfell is asking us in the chat, do you guys ever get tired?
Yes, is the answer.
I was going to say never.
Never. Well, you are a machine then, because I am shattered. But yes, we
I think we're very good actors. We hide our tiredness well.
Definitely. It's good they don't have close-ups of my eyes, because they'll be seeing I've had to hold them open during the break a little bit. Like
maybe you need to bring
Clockwork Orange.
You know, you need to bring some what do you call that?
Eye torture devices.
So how do you light a cigarette? What's the
matches.
Yeah, just keep your eyes open.
And this is like Clockwork Orange. I don't know if you've seen a film where he forces him to watch these things with the eyes open. I kind of do feel like that at times. What's going on here? Pawn to E4. Oh no, I don't know. I missed that one. So so yeah, we get a bit tired, but we've got time to rest now. So and
we love chess, so it's not a problem.
We love chess, and I love commentating with you. I have to say, it's been an absolute pleasure so far. So
all the pleasures for me.
So
we will see you guys in 2 days. So that's Thursday at the usual 3 p.m. local time, 7 a.m. Pacific time. So we hope you enjoyed the show. Thanks for keeping us company on Twitter, on the chat, and we'll see you in 2 days. 2 days.
Good night for now.
Thank you for watching. Bye.